I've got the badness in me. You know what you gotta do. If you got any sanity, this is fatal attraction. These are times of crowds of passion. One of us gonna get hurt. Took a shot for the magic, but we're crashing into tragic. One of us gonna get hurt. So if you want your head and heart unbroken, you better leave now, 'cause this is fatal attraction. These are times of crimes of passion. One of us gonna get hurt.
Don't know the time, I'm letting go. I wanna find someone to love. I feel alive, I think you know. We're getting down, we're getting low. Low, 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 low. We're getting down, we're getting low. Low, 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 low. We're getting down, we're getting low. Don't know the time, I'm letting go. I wanna find someone to love. I feel alive, I think you know. We're getting down, we're getting low. Low, 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 low. We're getting down, we're getting low. Low, 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 low. We're getting down, we're getting low. Party all night, oh party all night. Go into the doors 'cause I'll party all night. Oh party all night, oh party all night. Give me one more dose and I'll party all night. Low, low, low. Don't know the time, I'm letting go. I wanna find someone to love. I feel alive, I think you know. We're getting down, we're getting low. Don't know the time, I'm letting go. I wanna find someone to love. I feel alive, I think you know. We're getting down, we're getting low.
Baby, don't stop. I'm falling even faster now. Beneath the North Star, all things that glow in the dark. 2 steps from the edge, moving closer. In the deep lies the pond of disclosure. With tears in my eyes, I hold on to the fire inside. I'm getting close to the sun. resting now. Don't know if I dare to follow through. 2 steps from the edge, moving closer. In the deep lies the pond of disclosure. With tears in my eyes, I hold on to the fire inside. I'm getting close to the side where I can see what's behind. Oh, with tears in my eyes, I hold on to the fire inside. I'm getting close to the side where I can see what's behind. Oh, the shroud of lies. The shroud of lies. The shroud of lies.
I like it, like it, I like it, like it, like it, like that. Bad girls make 'em say wow. Bad girls make 'em say woo. Bad girls, bad wow. Bad girls make 'em say wow. Bad girls make 'em say wow, 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 wow. Bad girls, bad wow. I don't need a boyfriend. Nah, nah, nah. Stop looking. I don't need a boyfriend. Nah, nah, nah. Stop looking. I don't need a boyfriend. Nah, nah, nah. Stop looking. I don't need a boyfriend. Nah, nah, nah. Stop looking. Bad girls make 'em say woo. Bad
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another day here of the GSL. Today we've got Group D. Every once in a while we'll call Group D the Group of Death. Today it really is the Group of Death.
Yeah, this is going to be a scary one.
Yeah.
Solar, Cure, Ryung, and Hero. Probably the most stacked group that we're going to have this season in the round of 16.
Yeah,
I gotta
would say
say.
so. It should be a pretty long group as well. I think it's a tough one to say who exactly is going to get out, although I think Ryung, it's fair to say, is probably the weakest of these players. He does occasionally surprise us, but of course, Solar just coming off a GSL victory, I think he's probably an easy player to pick to get out.
Yeah, Solar probably my favorite to get out, either in first or second. And then we have Cure and Hero. Hero kind of been an online warrior recently. I mean, he's killing pretty much everybody in these online cups. And then
Yeah.
you go to offline, and the results aren't really what you expect from a player of his caliber.
It's weird because there's been times where Hero looks like the quintessential Protoss god. Like, he looks so on top of it. But lately, he has not looked as strong. There was a period where it seemed like he was just going to be the de facto best Protoss, and everybody would be copying his play style. He did bring a lot of interesting ideas and approaches in the past couple of years. But I want to see what kind of hero we're going to have here today, because it could be a real blowout performance. Maybe he gets out first, or he could flounder, and then that's going to be very easy for Cure to move on.
Yeah, if it's the hero that we see in a lot of these online cups with the killer instinct that just goes for the one timing that he sees, it's like he see through all the different permutations of where the game can go, and he's like, this is the timing, this is my window, this is where I kill him. That's where Hero thrives.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of these offline events, he's not finding that window. And Hero, I mean, I love him. I think he's one of the best Protoss players in the world. He's certainly the best in Korea. I don't look at him for a really clean builds or clean macro. It's more about control. It's about timings. It's about aggression.
Yeah.
But this is a tough group to bring that kind of aggression into. I mean, Kira's rock solid in TVP.
He's
Solar,
really brought the very best of himself the last couple of years. He's really stepped it up. He's looking really good.
Yeah, Solar, as you said, fresh off a GSL trophy, reigning champ coming in. It's going to be an interesting one, and Ryung, as you said, is absolutely the underdog coming in today.
Guys, if you do want to buy a ticket to our show, we had a link up on screen just a second ago. You could buy the tickets in advance. I think they go live 5:30 every Friday, so it's the day after this show happens. But we usually don't have the whole studio completely fill up. So, but as we get later and later on in the tournament, definitely do get in there and get a ticket, because we do have people that come and visit and then can't get in because the fire department won't let us fill it up with too many people.
Yeah, they're literally across the street.
Yeah, they're literally across the street. So
they come knocking. They're like, "How many gamers you got in that studio, Tasteless?"
Right. We are using a crowd-funded system right now. If you want to support us, the information's on screen over here. And I gotta say, man, it's great to have GSL back in the studio here with the fans coming down. It's so cool. It's such a special experience to have the fans, the casters, the players all over here.
Wow.
You can see where we're at so far here for this season. Very cool.
Almost $52,000 already in, is it March? We're 3 months into the year. That is crazy. Thank you guys so much for supporting with the Star Balloons, with the donations on Patreon as well.
Yeah.
Goes directly into the prize pool. Get some cool perks such as replay packs and behind-the-scenes videos too. And as it looks right now, this is how the round of 8 is shaping up. Maru, Classic, and Byun in Group A. Stats, Shin, and Gumiho in Group B. We're going to know the first and second place from Group D. Who's going to join them? As I feel like we usually don't get this sneak peek of the round of 8. Usually it's like the day after we clean up the round of 16.
Right.
GSL will publish online what the groups are going to be, so it's cool to actually get this glimpse into what the round of 8 is going to be.
Yeah, we're seeing the bones form of those groups, and we'll have that conclusion drawn here by the end of the evening.
Yeah, 3 Terran, 2 Protoss, 1 Zerg. A little bit of a surprising layout right here. I mean, Nightmare and Creator, I kind of expected one of them to advance in Group C. In Group B, Stats and Classic both advancing over Dark and Bunny of all people. So surprising.
신드가 처음이라서 좀 재밌을 것 같고, 빨리 저희도 역시 누가 오고 싶은지 또 한번 들어주시면 좋을 것 같네요.
민수한테 하면은 제가 뽑을 수 있잖아요. 그게 좋은 것 같아요.
아, 제가 그 왜 물어봤냐면 딱 그 사람만 뽑으려고. 네, 그래가지고 물어보고.
네, 강훈 선수 지목 부탁드리겠습니다.
네, 저는 같은 팀의 김동원 선수 뽑겠습니다.
와, 진짜로? 진짜 독하다.
엉마 같은 형이네.
절대 안 뽑을 줄 알았네. 와, 진짜 독하네.
이거는 이유가 있어요. 제가 만약에 여기서 동원 형 안 뽑잖아요? 그러면 동원 형은 령우 형이랑 1차 해야 돼요. 그게 얼마나 지옥입니까, 동원 형인데. 네? 저는 이 지옥을 피하기 위해서 피해준 거예요, 전 동원 형.
기분이 확 풀렸네.
들으니까. 연습 도와주면 되지.
령우 형은 못 이겨요. 하지만 강민수는 쏠만하다.
아, 내 마음에 들어갔다 나왔어.
아니, 그럼요.
뭐 같은 팀이거나 이러면 잘 안 뽑긴 하잖아요. 근데 민수가 저를 안 뽑을 거라는 생각을 저는 안 해봤어요, 한 번도. 근데 그 예상과 맞아서 그냥 그거에 좀 당황했을 뿐이고, 저그전을 하고 싶긴 했어요. 극복을 하고 싶어서. 그러면 또 하면 누구랑 하나? 민수랑 하면은 비벼볼만 하겠다 생각을 마음속으로 하고 있었습니다. 또 민수가 제 마음을 알아서 뽑아줘서 고마울 따름입니다. 뭐 저랑 하고 싶으신 이런 거 하면 제가 감당이 안 될까봐 일단 하지 않겠고요. 일단 뽑을 사람 먼저 생각을 해놔가지고 저는 김도욱 선수 지명하겠습니다. 아니 누구 뽑아야지 5가 안 나오는데 다시 할게요.
같은 팀이 아닌데?
살짝 좀 생각하고 있었거든요. 오늘 30분 게임 해가지고 져가지고 혹시 뽑을 수도 있지 않나 이 생각하고 있었는데, 동원이 형도 태태전 잘 하시니까 좀 재밌는 게임 할 수 있을 것 같아요.
아 그거 한 판 이겼다고 해가지고 뽑으면 안 되고 말을 또 이상하게 하시네 저 친구. 2대0으로 졌어도 뭐 뽑을 거였고, 민수가 도우이한테 자주 지는 거 많이 봤거든요. 그래가지고 뭐 두 마리 토끼 다 잡아보자. 민수가 좋아하면 좀 만들 수 있지 않을까. 그리고 제일 센 사람이 온다고 하니까 여기까지 기대해보겠습니다.
같은 팀이 맞죠?
같은 옷을 입고 있는 거예요.
저는 준호 형안 뽑고 짝클리 뽑겠습니다. 당근을 뽑겠습니다.
일단은 제가 요 근래 대회에서 똥을 많이 쌌는데도 제 위치를 이렇게까지 생각해 주셔서 좀 감사하기도 하고, 근데 이렇게 돼서 뭐 다행인 것 같습니다.
동민수 선수 지금 이 보에 대해서 어떻게 생각하세요?
나 굉장히 마음에 들지 않고요. 저는 뭐 털렁털렁해서 털렁털렁 올라가겠습니다. 그냥 열받게.
난 동환이 형 원래 좋아하는 형이었는데 좀 오늘은 좀 너무 밉고
이 조가 만들어진 건 민수가 저를 뽑으면서 시작됐기 때문에 지금 머릿속에 뭔가 D조 그림이 좀 그려졌는데 그러지 않길 바라고요. 네, 재밌게 좋은 경기 했으면 좋겠습니다.
All right, so Solar and Ryung both on Team Vitality. Solar picks Ryung first in
So
the group
funny.
selection, which was like a big faux pas in StarCraft 2 esports for a very long time. Is in the group selection, you do not pick your teammate.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Korea, this is just something that you do not do.
Yeah, you want to train together, and then you send each other off into your different groups, and
Yeah.
hope that you're forced to meet later on.
Solar.
Solar does not abide by that.
I
He's
love,
like,
I love how he's like, I'm saving Ryung from Dark. That's what I'm doing here. But really, you just know that like
Yeah.
Solar's probably just dominating Ryung
Yeah.
in the practice match. He's like, you
probably
know
got
what?
a crazy win rate first hit. He's like, okay, well now I'll just pick you.
Well, he's gonna have to prove it right now, though. Ryung versus Solar gonna be the first match today. Teammates duking it out in kind of an unexpected group selection. Really, I didn't think that was the way it was gonna go in terms of the drafting.
Yeah.
I know they publish these videos like before we go live, but I like to watch it here in the studio and get it nice and fresh. I'm just kind of taken aback that this was the way the group broke down. My goodness.
This should be an easy one here for Solar. I mean, he's really become such a powerhouse player. Very tough to kill. And, you know, this is a player that was really overshadowed, not just by Zergs internationally, but by Zergs domestically for a long time. And he's really kind of come into his own. Very cool to see. Ryung is, he's obviously always been good enough to qualify for GSL. He doesn't always make it. He tends to just not get deep. He seems to be, I guess what you said, like a tier 3 Korean pro or something. Like, he'll be, it's kind of along the lines of Nightmare and some of these other players where, you know, every season, of course, is an opportunity for him to, you know, make us reevaluate that. But I think this is going to be a tough group for him. If he gets out, it's going to be a big upset and a big surprise to me personally.
Yeah, I do feel that he's right up there with Nightmare as one of those players that consistently is qualifying for GSL, but usually falls out either round of 12, round of 16, either gets 3rd or 4th place in his group. And here in Group D, he's going to have to run the gauntlet. Keep in mind, it is Solar, Cure, and Hero that Ryung has to go up against if he wants to get out of this group. Group of death here as we're getting ready to go into game number 1 between Solar and Ryung, kicking off Group D, match 1 on hard lead. Let's get started.
Okay, we've got Solar here in the top left. In the bottom right is Ryung. And it looks like Ryung's going to be going for a wall-in over here at his natural expand.
Yeah, look at that. Haven't seen that too much so far this season, I think.
Yeah, not as popular. We were talking earlier about the fact that these two guys are practice partners, so it's always especially weird if you're going to compete against somebody that you've trained with a whole lot because you know all each other's secrets, your kind of views on the game in general. So sometimes games like this can be especially confusing to spectate or cast because there might be weird mind games that we just don't know about.
Absolutely.
That they're going to do. This opener appears to be the build order that Beyond popularized here, which is going to be at least 3 Reapers. We've seen some people experiment with a little bit more. But basically a Reaper pressure build, you might be able to control the timing or even placement of the third base, or even get a denial if you're really good.
Yeah, it depends, I think, on how much Ryung wants to commit to the Reapers. Generally speaking, we do see if there's 5 Reapers, that third hatchery getting delayed significantly here. And it's a good point you made about these guys being practice partners, being teammates coming in here and having it be a bit tricky to spectate. I feel like Hero and Dark are another 2-player that combo that I feel like every single online cup that I watch in Korea, whether it's, like the Korea StarCraft League, for example, which is a crowdfunded league that happens on a weekly basis, or maybe bi-weekly now, out here in Korea, they're meeting in pretty much every single finals, and so they change their builds up a lot. And Ryung doing this 2-Rax build on the low ground here, this might not be something that he does typically in practice. This might be something that he's experimenting with a little bit here, trying to throw Solar off his game, because if you're coming into this situation where Solar did pick Ryung, I'm sure they practice together. I'm sure that means that Solar has a very good win rate against Ryung in those practice games. If you're Ryung, you kind of have to think out of the box on how you're going to throw your opponent off, who knows you so well, and find a way to get advantage.
So we got the Reaper coming in here now. He didn't check up at the screen just to the right of this shot over here. That's where the third base is here, but I guess until that queen's out, he wants to just see if he can get a little bit more damage. But in some of these games, I see them always go for the hatchery right away. You could basically use the grenades to zone off the queen. So a little bit of a different approach. He's going to come up here now. Did he actually see that? He might have pulled away too quickly.
Yeah, I think he didn't. He didn't get the check.
I think he might be trying to go so fast that he actually made a mistake there.
That's possible. Oh, this Reaper actually going to commit to the main. Eventually is able to wiggle around those Lings. Only 5 of them here on the field, and both queens actually in the natural expansion, so it's some nice micro. Ryung able to find some more damage.
There are 2 command centers behind this, by the way.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, with 2 eBays.
That's about as greedy as it gets.
I'm going to go for 3 Reapers, and then I'll see you in late game, friend.
I think this might be why Ryung wasn't really checking the third base too much, because with 3 Reapers, you don't really have the DPS to actually threaten a cancel or force a cancel. And he wants to instead save that gas to go really fast double upgrade back at home. And this is... It really is about as greedy as it can possibly get here.
Yeah, well, I kind of like builds like this. Like, this looks like it'd be a fun build to try to run.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you were to get cheesed or they were to make like a Nidus Worm or something like that, you're dead 1,000 times over. But we were kind of talking about this at the start of the game, that because they're training partners, maybe it's going to be an odd-looking game. I bet this is not a normal build that Ryung is running. I bet this is the greediest build. I mean, it already is looking like the greediest build we could ever cast, right, for the matchup. But I can't even think of a game that I've casted where I've seen this. Triple Reaper into triple command center into double eBay.
I mean, the double eBay was even before the factory. This is going to be an insane timing. And I wonder if this could eventually line up into a really terrifying 2-2 push coming out from Ryung, because up until that window with 2-2, all these resource invested in the engineering base and the fast third command center, it's not really going to get any payoff up until that point. That's kind of the breaking point where suddenly all this investment is starting to come to fruition. You have this really massive army, and actually moving out here with a couple of Marines as well. I love what we're seeing out of Ryung. This kind of reminds me of how Protoss players used to shark a little bit back in the early days of Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm. You remember this term that every caster used for like 5 or 6 years, but it fell off?
Sharking around.
You shark around, you force the Zerg opponent to make a round of drones, then you pull right back off. And anything that Ryung can do right now to make Solar not make drones is good for him, because he really wants to hit the most crisp timing possible, I think, with this build.
I actually have a lot of hopes here for Ryung in this game, because he's about to have 1-1 done here. 2-2 is going to start. I imagine we're not going to see any action until 2-2 is done. This build is so greedy that there's no way you could even take advantage of the 1-1 upgrades right now. You don't have enough pieces on the board, so to speak, to even try to take a fight. But yeah, 2-2 and 3-3 are going to be just massive when that time finally comes.
These 3 Reapers still alive. So Solar, if he was paying attention, if he clicked on one of these Reapers, would see that 1-1 is complete and should have a very good idea of what Ryung's build is, especially seeing that third command center go down. And so Solar immediately going to start Roach Speed, another big round of drones. Surprised we don't see a 4th hatchery for him just yet. Only now throwing that down. And he's going to be basically a full upgrade behind for the majority of this game.
Yeah, unless you can basically wait out the 3-3 upgrades. Yeah, absolutely. You're going to be in a bad spot. We're getting closer and closer to that 2-2, so we're going to start to see some movement here on the map as pressure tries to build. The 4th base is a lot of times where it's decided whether... Sorry, 4th base for the Zerg is usually where it's decided, is this going to go on into a long game or not? Like, basically, can the Terrans smash that or not? And this game is probably going to be no exception to that.
Overlord and Creep Timber here in the main base, well positioned. immediately spotting the drop, and Solar is able to parry that away for now. But Ryung, up until that 2-2 is done, isn't really looking to get too much damage. He just wants to keep Solar on the back foot, on his toes a little bit. If he's quick with the stim here, might even be able to pick up a couple of queens. Yeah, he identifies that, immediately comes in. Solar not even going for the transfuse. Is going to transfuse that second queen. But this is nice by Ryung, only losing, what, 1 Marine, maybe 2? Getting some nice damage, can get some Overlords as well. Usually not too impactful, but when your opponent's playing Roaches the same way that Solar is, they are very supply intensive, so.
They are. They're also not that fast, so I mean, you can basically play keep away here with these Medivacs. I thought he was going to fly that back into the Corrosive Bile for a second. But again, this is not the master plan to just drop over there. He wants to start pushing, and that should be happening pretty soon here.
He's actually throwing down in the 4th command center, so I think this is just going to be 2-2 multi-prong harassment coming out from Ryung while he continues to macro back at home. He's even throwing down 2 more bunkers. He's starting siege tank production. So
I guess, yeah, if he's going to take a 4th base, which I'm glad you pointed that. I actually missed that command center over there. Then this is really going to come down to 3-3.
Yeah,
and Kenny closed the game out with there. Now that
kind of crazy.
That almost
actually
doesn't seem right, but let's see how this pans out.
All right, so Solar getting his Hive Tech almost completed now, only just now starting +1 melee attack. Those Marines are going to have +2, almost +3 infantry armor by the time the +1 is done, which is insane here for Ryung if Solar really wants to move into a lane composition. It makes me think that he's really going to have to rely on something like Spellcasters, which makes sense given he's got 1,200 gas in the bank right now. And maybe pairing those up with, Vials, with Fungals, with a helping number of Banelings and Vipers. Could be what we see here from Solar, because just pure Ling, as soon as these 2-2 upgrades are done, which they are now, isn't really going to cut it, especially if there's a good number of bio on the ground. I mean, even with a full surround, just the fact that the Marines have 2 armor to your 0 attack upgrades on those Lings, like, they just tickle,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if he's going to be able to get much more done here with the drops and the attacks everywhere. It's at the point where Zerg is now maxed out. God, this is such a weird game tempo-wise.
It really is. Even Solar isn't going on that high of a drone count. He might have even been anticipating the same 2-2 push that we were thinking might be in the cards here for Ryung, because he's only sitting at 80. Occasionally for Zergs, you will see them play a little bit more aggressively and even go up to something like 90 drones, and they just trade out the army supply over and over again. But instead, Solar just spending a lot of that army, or a lot of that supply on pure army and upgrades, and so his economy not as strong as a player like Serral's might be at this point, but the trade-off is his standing army is very potent, and that means that Ryung actually can't get too much done with his multi-prong harass, and Solar for now is still trying to play cleanup. He's trying to catch all these harassments that are coming on. Actually, a really nice pick out there from Ryung, gonna be able to get a good number of queens. Queen count going all the way down to 5 here for Solar. He's gonna lose another one there. Actually going down all the way to 3. There's very few injects here for Solar. Those Marines absolutely melting those Lings, and now going up into the main base. Solar might be in trouble here, Tasteless.
Oh, yeah, this actually could be pretty
come
bad.
on, what are you doing?
The 2 stack together.
Oh, it's a disaster.
My God, a cataclysmic moment in that game. But it's not done yet. This drop over here on the top right is still doing a lot of damage, taking out quite a bit of drones.
There should be 5 Medivacs and like 10 more Marines in the main.
Well, now these Marines are just stuck here. That's their home now, or was their home. Now they're wiped out easily. It felt like that was the moment before those Medivacs all completely got denied. That felt like that was the moment where maybe Ryung is going to be able to start to actually take this game. Ultra was shot down there, beautifully done with those Marines.
It's rare that you see Marines shooting down Ultras.
I know, right?
There is +2 armor, but no Ultra armor upgrade just yet. It's only just now finishing, but man, that feels a little bit like a whiff there for Ryung. If he kept those Medivacs alive, if he split them from the Parasitic Bomb, I really think he could have gotten a little bit more done in the main base. As it is right now, Solar with a bit of a lucky break, able to equalize, and Ryung going to come in once again, takes down an Extractor here on the right side. And
yeah, just take what you can get, right?
Yeah. And he's doing a good job of rotating his composition. It was almost pure Marine before, and now he's getting a good number of Marauders mixed in. Ghosts are coming in as well, and finally 3-3 about to finish here for the Terran. This is going to be a pretty sizable window where Terran has 3-3, and Zerg is slow to get +2 melee attack and slow to get +3 armor. It's going to be like, what, like 2 minutes or something?
Yeah, and look, I mean, if this was the strategy, we got to see, is it going to work now? It's kind of built up into this moment. Looks like he gets a deny there on that drone. But if not, I mean, if Zerg can play the waiting game, then this whole build really doesn't do anything. I mean, as far as I can tell, Solar is still growing on the map. he is getting to the point where he's going to run out of bases. The last base that's technically on his side of the map is in the top right. We do have a lot of games that end in this matchup where if the Terran wins, it's because the Zerg just basically ran out of resources and dries up and runs out of options, where the Terran has maybe 1-2 resource nodes on the map that can soak up and eventually close it out. That might be the way this game goes, but first we got to see can Ryung actually do something with what he's got so far.
What a mailing. What a Widowmine shot right there on the left side. Now Solar going to try and break in, but these Ultras getting absolutely shredded by the Marauders in Bio. Those Ghosts, unfortunately, all the way stuck in the front, are going to go down.
Yeah, he does take that command center out. Unfortunately, did not lift that and get that somewhere safe. He's going to try to push in here a little bit further. I didn't realize this wasn't a planetary over at the third base, just an orbital instead.
But this is going to be a little bit of an issue here for Solar, I think, because up until this point, he's lost so many queens that he has basically no larva. He has just one larva on the map right now, 4 queens in total. He's at 170 supply. Besides Ultras, there's nothing really supply efficient he can make out of those larvae. The injects are few and far between. So Ryung, if he senses that he has the potential to get some damage done right now and starts moving across the map, Solar's going to have a really hard time repopulating, especially if he loses this hatchery as well. I mean, the larvae are coming in so slowly right now for Solar. It's going to be a real struggle for him to reach max supply again. I mean, Ryung, this is a window. It's hard, though. It is hard in a moment like this if you're the Terran to understand exactly the situation that Zerg is in. But we'll see. Bio once again coming in on the left side. If he gets another hatchery, that could be huge. Just watch these Marauders absolutely shred these Ultras. The upgrade advantage is huge here for Ryung.
Every Ultras that's picked off here is a pretty big deal, right? A lot of times when you're going for this many Ultras, you want to have so many Lings and Ultras that you just overpower them in a fight. A little sloppy there by Ryung, not picking up in time. So, I mean, for this, it's going to be, I don't know, it's a game where, like, I think you're right. It's a little shaky here for Solar. At the same time, I don't know that Ryung has the muscle to do much more damage. He's being able to punch out those 2 bases over and over. Yeah, things are quieting down a little bit.
Yeah, especially with 3 more command centers getting thrown down. I suppose this is going to be one of those TBZs where no one really could get the game-ending damage done in the mid-game, and now Terran's going to hunker down and build a bunch of Ghosts.
Okay, so there's a little bit of roaming over here. We got a drop on the far left side of the map. Looks like that's probably angled for the main. No, excuse me, it's actually going to be a Widowmine drop. It's not going to be able to get pulled off there. He's going to instead go into the main. I think there's no way that medevac gets out. It's going to be too low on HP. Yeah, he's just going to shuffle these Widowmines wherever he can and try to get some damage done. But it doesn't seem like it's being paired with any kind of real push. I guess we got a small squad coming up here to the top right. But yeah, at this point in time, I'm wondering, is Terran going to actually shift back into just full-on turtle mode? Because it doesn't seem like we've had any kind of major push here from the Terran. We've had sort of these little guerrilla attacks here and there.
Yeah, there hasn't been that big push, but Ryung's economy is really strong right now. He's a little bit behind on workers, but keep in mind he has all those orbital commands, and this third base actually not very well defended. Snipes, though, coming down on the Vipers. That's going to take a lot of the oomph out of this army here for Solar, as Ryung just able to quickly rotate in. And now the game plan here for Ryung, if he's able to take some favorable trades, might just be to keep Solar on as few bases as possible, because, as you pointed out earlier, Tasteless, it is hard for the Zerg to really start expanding beyond the bases that he has now, and even those bases on the left and the right side, you know, just 2 medevacs worth of bio.
Yeah.
If Solar is caught out of position, even with creep spread, it's tough to get there in time and actually defend. And I mean, that's exactly what Ryung is going for right now. These 3 medevacs on the right side almost certainly should be able to take this hatchery out, unless Solar is able to catch it. Now, he did get vision there, and yeah, he is going to pull the Corruptors.
You know, it does seem like it could be possible for Zerg to take the bottom left.
Maybe.
Be really hard.
I mean,
I guess what I'm trying to get at is each corner, top right and bottom left, it's kind of hard to hold.
Right.
It's almost like its own little location on the map where everything else is grouped together, at least expansion-wise. Like this space over here, Terran, yeah, easily takes that. But that bottom left one, that's pretty far away from home.
It is, but it's also really hard for the Zerg to get there eventually, you know? I mean, it's just a screen away from planetary fortresses over down by that linear third. And
we're going to have a bunch of Broodlings morphed, or Broodlords, excuse me, morphed over here. I saw that Greater Spire.
Yeah, I think that eventually will happen. Just Solar needs to trade out some of these units to free up supply for that, and he's going for that base Tasteless. He doesn't want it. Another attack coming in here at the triangle third. Liberator is actually a little bit out of position. Not getting protected by the bio or by the missile turrets, really, so they are going to get taken out, but it's such a hard position here to breach for Solar. That base in the bottom left did get cleaned up by Ryung as well. Some nukes are getting thrown in here, and Ryung right now, he did lose a couple of SCVs. I wouldn't really mind seeing Ryung go even lower on army supply, however, or on worker supply, excuse me, given how many orbital commands he has. The SCVs, the way these corruptors,
This is one way to get rid of supply. I guess we're not going to go into Broodlords with those, okay?
Yeah. Well, he's
He didn't
making
even
more
use them to
corruptor.
damage the buildings down there.
He's making more corruptor. He's making
What?
14 more corruptors. I think
What?
these
That
guys are
was really weird, man.
first game of the day, I guess.
Yeah.
Still getting warmed up a little bit here. Some
Of all the
misplays on
things
both
I thought would be
sides.
made, when I saw the Corruptors go and die like that, I'm like, well, clearly he doesn't need these.
I was thinking the same thing as you. It's like, well, yeah, Brood Lords just seems like the natural transition here to try and take advantage
We've
of some
seen
of
it
this
so many
airspace.
times before, right? So
Yeah, well, Solar does have the healthier bank here than Ryung.
okay, so a little small attack up here. Again, more supply dumped out. He does deny that command center at the bottom left.
I feel like inevitably it is going to get taken by the Terran, though. I mean, Solar really doesn't have the map presence unless he's able to make some big play happen. Attack nuke.
Oh my
Solar?
God.
Hello?
Okay, no, he finds
Okay.
it.
My goodness.
Like, he's going to run all his stuff over there to get nuked.
Are you going to get nuked again?
So, I don't think that the Terran's going to get broken here for a little bit. We're at the phase of the game where the resources are really starting to pile up. If you look at what Zerg has, we're going to be at 4,000 gas real quick here with the bases that are available. Terran's at about 2K. Sorry, 2K minerals, 2K gas is what I'm trying to say. Zerg right now at 4.3 to 3.2, but maxed out. So, like, you know, that's going to pile up pretty quickly here. A lot of times the way that Zergs can win games like this one is they throw everything they've got into the Terran and then completely remax in a second and throw that into the Terran. And we will even have games where there's like a third moment. They'll remax that again and throw that into the Terran. And that's usually how the Zerg is going to swing the end game. If the Terran's going to, well, hold on a second, I'll get to that after this fight. We've got this command center just completely wiped in and out. Solar escapes. But of course, there's more command centers here to boot for Ryung.
Yeah, Ryung playing a very low siege tank style right now. I guess because he's so fanned out on the map, it's hard to have enough army supply to really cover all your bases here with siege tanks. But that does mean that pushes coming in from Solar, like that one, can just take down planetary fortresses. He's going to come in here again, get a nice round on this planetary. Be able to take this one out too, but really the defense for Ryung hasn't been that solid. But oh, he's getting on top of the Brood Lord's tasteless. Snipes coming down as soon as they morph in. That was 4 or 5 Broods immediately taken out.
Yeah, just killed off in the blink of an eye there. The Infestor's a little bit late. Looks like the Spores might have to shimmy forward a little bit further here if they're going to spot or anything like that. Meanwhile, I mean, Solar's just continuing to roam and do damage wherever he can. Looks like a burrowed Zergling was killed under that command center.
Yeah, Solar's done a really good job of just disrupting the mining here for Ryung. Ryung's been playing this so passively, but he hasn't really been able to anchor his position on any of these bases so far. I would love to see him throw down a couple more sensor towers to get a bit of a better read on what Solar's movement is going to be, because I feel like he's been caught out of position more times than not, and he's losing bases. He's getting his mining, you know, idled by having to lift up these planetaries and orbital commands.
Okay, so we got a lot of Broodlords sitting here. I don't know if he wants to push for them or if he's basically just keeping these Broodlords at the top center to basically defend. I think a lot of times we think of Broodlords as these units that push, but I guess you could just keep them back, almost like we see these Liberators set up over here. If this whole game is going to come down to the bottom left base, which it feels like is more and more the case, I kind of like what Solar's doing.
Yeah, it's been solid, and the Broodlords on the defense have been doing the job ever since that initial Ghost snipe just kind of pounced on them as soon as they morphed in, because this little hit squad of Ultras, Lings, and Banelings has been doing fine work, just taking down planetaries, forcing idle time, delaying that third base, or not the third base, excuse me, the corner base from getting it set up there for Ryung. And Ryung, he is being cost efficient. I like that his army supply, or his worker supply, excuse me, I don't know why I'm so fumbled today, but his worker supply is all the way down at 57 SCVs. Given his orbital commands, that's going to mean his army's a lot more potent than before, and he's going to take these trades much more cost efficiently than he was for the past couple of minutes. And now with nukes coming in, this is almost pure Ghost, but there really isn't very much on the ground to contest it here. For Solar, it's a very low number of Banelings. I don't see any Infestors. It's rare that you see just ghosts pushing forward like this in the TVZ.
And it's
they're just
Zergin's cowering in the corner of the map right now. Gotta be careful though, you do not want to waste any ghosts.
He's sniping Banelings. How often do you see this?
Yeah. Meanwhile, we've got this crazy wave of Broodlords moving on the map.
I don't know if I've ever seen just 15 ghosts walk into a base and kill the ground army and drop like 2 nukes. That was bizarre. But
I think there's like 18 Broodlords right now.
Man, he's making
2 more being made. And I wish we could just check all the minerals here at the Terran's base and the Zerg's base right now, because Zerg is going to start to dry up.
You know, there isn't really a lot of anti-air here for
Solar.
All right, coming in. Oh my god, that EMP gets almost every single Infestor. Snipes coming in. The Liberators with a... That's so much damage. Armor treading missile on the Broodlords and the Liberators. There's no anti-air.
Dude.
They just completely mop up. It's like watching a StarCraft 1 game with Valkyries, man. That's insane.
Crazy. He just wiped everything out. Is this game over now?
I think it has to be.
Solar's at like 150 minerals and 400 gas.
What an insane fight.
Dude. What an ending. By the way, I mean, maybe they had it on the unit counter, but I was so busy looking at the Broodlords, I didn't appreciate how many Vikings were actually here. That was like a perfect play there from Ryung.
He's landing mules to repair the planetary. I love it here for Ryung. I mean, Solar's down at 100 supply. Ryung has a 6K resource bank.
Yeah, this game should be done. I can't believe it.
I feel like
Solar, like the clear favorite of this group, is going to go down at least in one game here to Ryung. Ryung coming out with a really interesting build. It was 3 Reapers, 3 Command Centers, 2 eBays into late game.
And I gotta say, the armor shredding, the late game armor shredding missiles from the Ravens, paired with that was like a dozen Liberators on clumped broods, is some of the finest anti-air I've seen from a Terra. That was so awesome.
Was crazy, dude.
Cool game by Ryung.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was a
really
one.
now, look, he just needs to have one more tricky build, something unexpected, and he could take this game. Wow. I mean, this was kind of the whole funny thing about today, right? That, you know, Solar picks Ryung, their teammates, but obviously Solar views Ryung as probably the weakest player that he could go up against. And here we are right now. Solar is facing the possibility of going down to the losers match here in this group.
Ryung looks really impressive there in game number 1. I wonder if he's going to go for the same kind of greedy opening here, though, in game 2, because I feel like if Solar is keyed in, that Ryung is going to be taking these risks. He's one of those Zergs that is not afraid to get aggressive. He can all-in you, he can just do Ravager pressure, he can throw you off your game. And let's keep in mind, Ryung, he got into late game going with the greediest possible build. It was double engineering bay into 3 orbital, and even behind that, it didn't culminate in a push. He threw down more command centers. He got all the way up into 3-3 before he really amped up the aggression on the flanks. I don't know if we're going to see the same build from Ryung. I imagine Solar is going to be a lot more aggressive here in game number 2. I don't think he wants to face Ryung in the late game after how disastrous that last fight was in game number 1, but let's see what happens, man. I'm excited.
It's cool to see Ryung win in a long game, too.
Yeah.
That was where I was 100% certain Solar would never lose against Ryung. So this is already a really exciting series. We're ready to go now into game number 2. Let's see if the upset continues on or if our GSL champion can fight back and win. Okay, we've got Solar in the bottom left, Ryung in the top right.
Ryung leading this one 1-0. Man, I am like tripping over my words today. I don't know. Maybe it's I didn't get enough sleep last night.
You're good, man. Oh, it's got some support here for Solar. He needs it now more than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. But some Ryung fans.
Sweden fan club.
Fan club, go hero. Love it.
That's a crazy game. You know, we were talking earlier, like, this is probably going to be a pretty long evening of games. Well, game 1 definitely proved us right on that.
I think Solar versus Ryung of all the matches today absolutely has the potential to go the latest. Kira versus Hero, those are both 2 gamers that absolutely will go to your throat at the first opportunity. But Ryung, he is not afraid to go into the late game, even against players of the caliber of Solar, who's coming off one of his best years of his career the reigning GSL champion. And this is something that is really impressive for me with Ryung, and it's something he's always been good at, because you see players like Nightmare, and I love Nightmare a lot, but I feel like he doesn't have the full confidence in the late game compared to a player like Ryung. Like, he will go there occasionally, but you compare that to somebody of the top level, like a Maru or a Ryung that is not afraid just to hunker down and defend and play that pure macro game. I feel like that's something that a lot of mid-range players kind of lack. But Ryung has really stood a head above the crowd in that regard for at least the class that he's in. As somebody that hasn't made a lot of round of 8s recently, hasn't made very many quarterfinals, but is consistently qualifying for GSL. The fact that he is so confident in his game that he's like, you know what, I actually can go and play 200 and 200 versus the reigning champion. That's just so impressive to me from even a mentality standpoint, because I think a lot of lesser players, myself included, if I was trying to compete.
Did you see that dodge?
Yeah.
Just barely gets out of there.
Vision Imba, man. Those overlords, they can see far.
Oh, I think he's going to find it, but it should be able to get over this little square thing. I think it can't be seen from there.
I think it can with a high ground vision.
Oh, for some reason I thought that was like counted as higher ground. Oh, that's annoying then. Okay, so the Overlord's going to be taking some damage here.
The thing is for Ryung, though, is you really want to gamble about sending those 2 Marines into the middle and risking like 4 Lings coming in and cleaning them up, and also you have to deal with this back at home. So the Overlord will survive, but yeah, from Ryung, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him again go for a bit more of a passive game. Obviously, this isn't 3 Reaper into double engineering bay into 3 third command center.
Right.
You know, it's a little bit more aggressive than that. It's a relatively fast factory, although we do have that 3rd CC coming down. But I think he's probably going to try and play a similar kind of game. And
So
are we going
it's 2 factory?
go mech?
Yeah, this is 2 factory.
Oh, wow.
I had to do a double take there when I saw that. So, yeah, I mean, this is a very different approach. We talked about the kind of weird mind games that may be at play. By the way, another bad sign here for Soul. He did lose that Overlord. You know, these builds are so fine-tuned. It is actually really frustrating and disruptive to have one of those, you know, supply groups annihilated and throws your build off here. So he's going for factories. Is he going to try to do some kind of timing, or is this going to be more of a turtled out game, I wonder?
I'm imagining something like a battle mech opening into just straight up mech. Because
maybe Hellion Cyclone into like turtled out, teched out, tanks and everything else.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
I don't think I ever see Ryung go mech. Just thinking back to it, I feel like I don't cast games of him meching very often. He's very much like a kind of bio-Terran.
I remember back when I was at the Axiom house. I was living there with Ryung for a while, and this is like, God, I feel like it was like a decade ago. It might actually be
a decade ago. It literally was
It might actually be a decade ago. He used to go mech quite often back then, at least on the ladder. I'm not too sure about his tournament games because back then I was just a Protoss Pro gamer. I wouldn't watch TVZs.
Dude,
I wouldn't watch TVTs.
That's so funny because I know exactly what you're talking about. When I was doing StarCraft 1, I like only watched the Protoss games. I'm like, I do not care about the other matchups.
Yeah.
I need to only soak up what matters to me in improving my game.
Well, it's different when you're like a player versus when you're a caster or when you're a viewer of tournaments, right? But he used to go mech quite a fair bit back then. I'm not sure about recently, but this is going to be, straight up battle mech. 5 Cyclones in production right now, and this might even catch Solar off guard. I don't think he really has any idea. Now, seeing these extra 2 Cyclones and only 1 Marine in the front might be a tell. Or 2 Hellions, excuse me, but he hasn't seen any Cyclones just yet.
Yeah, no, I think this is a really well-masked strategy. You just see enough of the Hellions, and what's going to happen is he's going to have sustain because the armory is going to come down here. You're going to have Hellbats, too.
And he's pulling so many Cyclones right now. And I don't think Solar has any idea exactly how many are coming his way. He might have an inkling that this is going to be battle mech.
Keep in mind the number of Hellions that you're seeing roam around the map is the exact amount that would come out of one factory. So there's nothing that tells you that it's mech. So you might be expecting like drops or bio, and instead it's going to be the snap. If this is going to work, it's going to have to really do damage very quickly and snowball the game.
Yeah, there's very little army supply on the map right now here for Solar. Just 38, 10.
Oh, I think he's playing a little bit too scared here.
Yeah, 8 Queens, 10 Lings, and less than a dozen Roaches. So Solar immediately trying to throw in some more units. I feel like Ryung should be trying to get some chip damage
I feel
with
like
those
he needs to be
Cyclones
going
right
for
now.
more than this right now. This just feels like you had the timing and now you're going to sit on his creep for a little bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit timid there.
Well, now he's looking at command center, so never mind. So clearly, I guess he made it look, at least to Solar, like it was a timing as well. But if you're going to throw down a command center, then you're intent on having a much longer game. So I don't know. I felt like it almost would have been better to just actually try to get in and get the damage done. But here we are.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't have an exact read on when. Well, even if it's roach speed completes, I feel like you're not going to take too unfavorable a fight with Battle Mech like this. But I guess Ryung is just confident trying, multitask Solar a little bit here with Cyclones and Hellions. I mean, Battle Mech like this is so mobile, especially if Ryung decides that he wants to mine out those minerals over by the third base so that he can open up that path, because he can kind of play keep away, just attacking this base over here at the 9 o'clock position, going down to the 7 o'clock position, attacking that hatchery later on. There's a lot of opportunity here with Battle Mech to get something done, and it's one of those compositions that it's really hard as the Zerg player to actually engage with and take a favorable trade unless you get a complete surround or catch the Terrans sleeping with their mech units just kind of idling off creep, right?
So, I mean, it's obviously going to have to be a long game because Terran's not going to commit to anything. Zerg was forced to stay back and defend and turtle up. But this is going to be an insane game if it's going to be a long one. This map is huge. There's a lot of bases that are kind of hard to get to for the Terran if they're going to stay on anything that's not a mobile mech. And you kind of don't go into the end game with just a bunch of Cyclones running around. You start to get tanks and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I feel like this should be a more manageable game from Solar. What do you think?
I'm wondering whether Ryung is going to take a 5th command center or if he's just going to sit on these 4 CCs. Because one thing about playing mech like this is you really need gas if you want to max out. That's why you immediately double down on the refineries at that 4th base. But it wouldn't surprise me if he just tried to hit some really solid timing with a ton of siege tanks, a ton of Cyclones. I mean, he has 3 more factories in production right now. And basically just do a 4-base, I don't want to call it an all-in, but a very committed attack. Because also, you look at the architecture of this map, yes, it is very big, but it's kind of a straight shot from your 3rd and your 4th base through the center of the map into the heart of the Zerg's base, right? I mean, you siege up some tanks there, you get a good position with Cyclones, you get some Thors out for ants here, maybe even mix in a couple of Ghosts, although we'll see if Ryung decides to go that way. You can anchor down a position that is really hard for the Zerg to breach, and really problematic because it's kind of in the middle of all of their hatcheries, all of their expansions.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a good point. I mean, you could basically try to have like this death squad that moves out and you try to flatten them. I feel like it's going to be tough to pull off, though. When you get a mass tanks, which is, an inevitability if you start to really go into deep late game mech, you are giving up mobility, so it would seem to me like Zerg could also just rely on counterattacks. If they take out just one of your bases, it's going to be big. Here comes that push, by the way, so let's see how this actually goes. I feel like Ryung is playing a very, very different set of games than what I'm used to seeing, which is kind of exciting when you see a player evolve this much. The question is it a gimmick, or is it like, going to be something we can really take a lot from and, learn from here? He is going to start to advance on this. The thing is, this style of play on this map, I feel like all the bases are so far from where the Terran needs to get, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this would have been better on the previous map.
I feel like you need to get to this position where Solar is planting his army right now. You want to get between that 3rd base of the triangle and the gold base. You want to get right here on screen, because from there you can kind of go anywhere with the Cyclones, right? You can take down that base at the triangle 3rd, you can go down and kill the gold base. You can take down the base at the 7 o'clock position if you hold that spot. But instead, Ryung looks like he's going to just slowly inch his way over here to the left side. And look at the map. He actually has a really wide arc of, I think, siege tanks there right in the center. Very unique style of almost pure siege tank Cyclone that we're seeing right now. It's 27 Cyclones and 10 siege tanks.
I guess the question is going to be, how many bases are going to be denied here from Zerg? Because you can kind of play keep away. I mean, the Cyclones and the Hellions are pretty mobile, right? But, like, you could do moves like this. Oh. Or not. Okay, yeah, he's going to come in there.
Couple of siege tanks right here, but...
Like, how can I take this base out with as little as possible?
Oh, siege tanks focus firing the banelings there. Might take enough of the damage away that they cannot get the CC. And yeah, they're going to have to go for the SCVs. So pretty good trade right there for Ryung, all things considered.
Kind of sloppy there from Solar, to be honest. We had, I think it was 5 Broodlords we saw a second ago. Morphine. We've got the gold base being taken here. I can't imagine this is going to stay up for much longer.
Broods are coming out, but by the way, Ryung has already been producing Vikings for a while now, 3 at a time, and I guess he only has 2 on the field. I thought that number might be 2, or might be 5 instead, so a little bit slow on the production, but he did have this really on his map, and so these Vikings, although they get abducted into Queens, these
Yeah.
242 Vikings.
So every time you see a tank die, it's huge. Think of how much gas that costs. And obviously the Broodlords could just come through here and pick this off pretty easy. In fact, Ryung kind of being sloppy. Some of these tanks just left to get wiped by the Broodlings here. We've got a push coming in. Again, I just don't... I'm trying to wrap my head around how could Ryung win this game, right? I mean, he's basically not made a dent on any base. Again, going back to the theme we were talking about earlier, like they are practice partners. Sometimes you got to try weird experimental stuff to beat your opponent. I feel like we're seeing him try that, and this is just conceptually not a good approach to the map, to the player, to the game.
I mean, Solar right now is pushing this third base with a bank of 8K resources. Now, Ryung is going to be able to clean up these Broodlords at last with the Vikings, but Solar is sitting on 42 larvae. This hatchery eventually will get taken out by the Cyclones, I believe. And losing these Broods, it doesn't really matter that much for Solar. He can trade this army away and then make another army and completely trade that and then still remax to go kill Ryung across the map. I mean, the economic lead, unless Ryung can really snowball the fight with these Cyclones and get on top of production, it's going to be hard for Solar, or hard for Ryung, I think. We'll see, though.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do with this attack over here. This is kind of a funny-looking, very mobile mech army. Is this going to be a bit of a seesaw in who's actually taking this game? We see him pushing across the map. Now, no tanks, so you don't have that like bulk damage, but you do have the mobility.
Actually, Solar maxing on a lot of Lings right now, so
Yeah.
the larva count is going quite low. He's coming in for the engagement, getting these Cyclones here on the left side. Baneling's connecting on the Cyclones in the middle, getting a lot of damage done. This push from Ryung actually getting a lot more than I thought it could, but still the remax from Solar. He played it a little bit tight right there with a low larva count, but is able to breach that position.
I mean, that was kind of wild. It seems like everything goes back to even here as far as supplies go.
But you see
it was
the
a lot of
potential.
Lings, though. A lot of larvae dumped into those Lings, and then the question is, can Terran kind of come back with a strong comp, and maybe Zerg doesn't have the momentum due to the lack of larvae to replace that.
Yeah, but with a fight like that, you can really see the potential of the composition that Ryung is trying to run with, and it kind of makes me sad that we didn't see this culminate in a push off of something like 4 bases. Because that was a pretty impressive fight. It went better for Ryung than I was expecting it to for the beginning, even though Solar was eventually able to clean it up. And as it is right now, that trade was cost efficient enough for the Terran that Solar, that bank isn't quite so strong anymore, and he's maxing on a very expensive army. He's making more Vipers, a lot of Banelings, a lot of Ravagers. These are all very supply-intensive units in terms of their cost, so only 3K resources in the bank.
So a lot of gas banks for Solar, which
Yeah.
means we really need to see the Terran keep the gas units alive here. Kind of a weird way to think about it, but I think it is valid here, especially if you're talking about mech, right? I mean, the stuff that's not gas-intensive is pretty flimsy as far as these big fights go. Solar, he's not getting denied bases. There's still plenty of bases for him to take on the map. I think Terran has maybe one more base sort of in the center right that's going to be, in fact, he's taking it right now. But the other bases are pretty far away from home. They're tough for Terran to take it and hold. Mech requires a lot of physical micromanagement to set up and defend. It's a lot less fluid than like, bio.
I'm starting to like this position a little bit more for Ryung, though. I feel like he's done a really good job of stabilizing back at home after losing so many siege tanks in the middle and getting that third base kind of taken apart by the Broodlord timing attack that came through earlier. Since then, Solar really hasn't been able to get very much done with this much more low-tech composition that he's been running. And so Ryung really hasn't taken that much damage. And if he's able to get this gold base up with another gas...
He's getting armor here, too, so... oh, hold on a second.
Good.
He's going to be hit once again. And it's going to be one of these Terran games where it's like, just figure out which side, the Zerg is really not defending and hit over there. He's going to be hitting this hatchery to take out a couple of drones. There's not going to be enough to take this base out. But he's basically causing a couple little fires here and there that Solar has to put out. This is, again, this map just feels a lot bigger than our previous map as far as the way the bases are laid out. I'm getting really interested in the 2 top left bases and this far lower right base as well. There are more bases given to the Terran as the game goes on because Terran expand later. So Zerg can use up their side of the map more often. But the question is, can Terran reach into those corners and protect it?
The more I'm seeing this style here on this map for Ryung, the more I like it as a selection, because He's only really not taking that top left base with a high yield Vespene gas, but he's focusing instead down on the bottom right quadrant, which is where most of the minerals are. And if he's able to actually take all of those expansions down to the bottom right, then suddenly it's a really good staging grounds to attack into Solar. As so we're going to come through here again. The Vikings just shredding these Vipers. A couple of Ducks and Blinding Clouds do come down as Solar is going to get pushed back yet again.
And he does take that command center out. Now Zerg has got that lower right base. I think that the sensor tower is just barely not over that hatchery. I can't tell.
I believe you're right. It's barely out of range.
I think he just barely doesn't know that that's there. I'm sure Terran will find out quickly, but if he doesn't, Zerg can soak up those resources, and that's going to be pretty big.
I love these late game Ravens we're seeing out of Ryung, by the way. Very few Terran players actually do this, mixing in a Raven with their composition.
I love this.
Game 1, he's doing it again in Game 2. Armor Shredding Missile come down. It pairs so well here with the Cyclones. And Solar, he's really just kind of playing a Ro.16 Ravager composition and not getting the best trades because of it. And that scares me. He is doing a good job of keeping Ryung's bank low because he is trading units out and his economy is a little bit better with his better mineral saturation. But my fear is if Solar isn't able to really break Ryung's position at all, eventually Ryung is just going to have the more cost-efficient fights. And if this goes to a split map scenario, it's cost efficiency that kind of determines who is going to be winning the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is really what the matchup is like when it comes to the late game here. So we got another attack in over here. Everything backs off. Meanwhile, Lings and Bane's going to come down. So this hatchery is just probably going to get killed. I can't imagine, especially when the Cyclones are this close to the tanks, there's any real way for melee units to try to engage this and shut this down.
And the composition that Ryung has worked his way to is about as good as it gets. It is Ghost Mech. And it doesn't matter if you open up with Bio. Ghost Mech is kind of the ideal eventually.
Right.
It's just so supply efficient. It's the best army composition in the game, in my opinion, especially in a matchup like this one, TVZ. And that means that Ryung, now that he's maxed with 132 army supply of Ghost Mech, unless he's caught woefully out of position, which this base right here is a little bit exposed, the Ghost and the Cyclones are going to work their way back in.
Yeah, he can come back in. And remember, he's got enough command centers so he can just swap in a new one.
Yeah.
The question is going to be, does Zerg ever do the critical damage to cripple the Terran where he can't reclaim these exterior bases? Because as far as I can tell, this is not a game we're going to have Terran pushing across the map to kill the Zerg here.
No, not anymore.
This doesn't look like this is going to be mech style mixed in with the way that we've seen Maro beat so many great Zergs in the past, which is to just sit back and kind of let the Zerg burn through their resources, and then you're left over with the few bases remaining, sometimes even just one.
I'm curious how many minerals are actually left on these bases in the bottom right for Solar. Now, he has been able to expand to the top left to take the high yield gas, so his gas had come really healthy right now as he once again attacks in on this base. Just the new command center gets planted down and immediately gets unseated. But the thing is, the army that Solar has on the ground doesn't really stand too much of a chance in a straight up fight.
Right.
But because Solar's economy is so much better, because he has all these bases, all this very efficient mining happening, he is able to kind of catch Ryung out of position consistently and take these trades. And so Ryung right now actually really struggling for minerals.
We actually had 18 SCVs killed off, and he's starting to rebuild them, but I'm hoping he's going to get that number high enough, because you do need a lot of SCVs in this phase of the game, draining all these resource nodes here. Another big attack comes in. Doesn't look like he quite has enough to take that planetary out.
No, but Solar is doing a really good job of just keeping Ryung contained. I think he knows that his army composition doesn't necessarily beat Ryung's right now, but it's much more mobile, and he can just kind of take them back and macro about as efficiently as possible. I mean, the mineral saturation with these 76 workers has to be ideal here for Solar, especially with the high yield gas and the gold base still with resources left. And he doesn't have to be super supply efficient in fights like this one, although coming in with the Banelings, he was able to get a connection on the Ghost, which a couple of them do go down.
Oh, man, that was actually insane, dude. That was such an overextension.
Yeah.
I said that maybe Solar, sorry, what I said was Terran probably can never actually attack on this side of the map. Well, when that happens, you can. Now we've got Ryung. He's going to be able to get those resources over there in the bottom right. We do have a base being taken in the top left over here on the Terran side of the map. Can he actually come in here and take this hatchery out?
He's on a timer, though, because the Remax is coming here for Solar, and Ryung just is really struggling to replace the army that he's got.
But here's the thing. Oh, actually, no. Yeah, Solar has a lot in the bank. For a second, I swapped the minerals. I was like, no, he doesn't have any money. But no, that's actually Ryung. He's going to push it again. A lot of tanks back here. It's tough to get into that angle. That little bridge back there really gives a lot of cover.
Solar's bios have been really on point this game, by the way. He's taking down Ghosts, he's taking down Siege tanks, killing Vikings. It's really good control with those bios, and he's going to come in. Those Siege tanks are clumped, so he's able to take them both down 2 at a time with those bios. And, you know, Ryung, he finally is starting to mine from that bottom right base, and he really needs it because this is basically his whole mineral economy right now.
I feel like Ryung is almost dead.
I mean, he has such a powerful arming composition, although it has gotten thinned out quite a bit by these incessant counterattacks.
Well, just look at these links coming in here. I mean, yeah, any tank he takes out, it's devastating. Now he's going to come in here and hit the space. He turned that into a planetary, so he can't. There's no way to save it now. He just has to try to get out as much damage as possible. We're seeing Solar now come in and close out on basically the last viable base that Ryung has. That's the gold base. He can't take that expansion over there.
Yeah, I know Ryung right now is dropping a ton of mules on that 3 o'clock base, and it's going to mine out very quickly. And once that happens, I think our server almost gave us a shot of it. I saw the mouse cursor hovering over that 3 o'clock. I want to see those minerals so bad. But Ryung is really, really struggling for minerals right now. He needs to secure a base. That is kind of his win condition because Solar, his bank is running out. Ryung has been very supply efficient. He's been very cost efficient over the course of these fights. Solar has spent a lot of money trying to keep Ryung from taking, you know, one more base because he knows that if he can starve the Terran, that is the win condition. And you see it right there. It's about, what, 10k minerals more efficient here for Ryung, 1 or 2k more gas efficient than Solar. And so Ryung just really needs to try and hold on. And I kind of like him almost forfeiting this base over here because there aren't too many minerals left in the high yield, and just try to get back to max. I think you try to repopulate the space over down here in the bottom right, drop a ton of mules down on that, and then eventually work your way towards denying the bases in the top left. But for right now, Ryung just really needs to reach a maxed army supply, and he's almost there again. And if Solar goes for another overextension like the previous one that really ate into his bank, it could be problematic, but here we go again,
now,
Tasteless.
If this attack doesn't work, Ryung could be back in this game for a little bit. But if this attack does succeed, it's probably going to be the very end here. There's just so much coming in. There's nothing to cover these tanks.
Nice arc of tanks here on the high ground,
You know what? I thought he was going to get some more corrosive biles down there, and then it didn't happen. I was ready for like a big... What?
We didn't even catch this in the top left. The Cyclones just took down a high-yield gas base, and the drones are evacuating the other one.
It was like... I thought Zerk was about to have that, and suddenly he failed that attack, and now we have all these workers getting killed off up here. It's 46 workers to 49. That number's going to get even a little bit lower here.
Solar might have overextended a little bit again. 30 workers in total going down. Those Hellions got so much damage done.
He has no minerals.
He has no minerals. This is really the only base mining, and it's 18 out of 8.
Wait.
Is Ryung going to upset Solar? He was on death's door, basically.
This is like a cheesy movie. It's not a real game, guys. This is like WWE. This is wild.
I mean, the cost efficiency
the
for
drama,
Ryung.
the story. I can't believe it.
And
I think he was so confident he was going to wipe that, and then it backfired, and then we weren't looking, the observer wasn't looking, and it doesn't look like Solar was watching the top left side of the map, and all the drones got wiped.
I think Solar was looking at that fight the same way that we were, where there weren't a lot of siege tanks immediately in the vicinity of the command center.
Yeah.
And so he just tears down that position, and then he doesn't stop, and he keeps going up. And there were like 6 more +3 siege tanks on the high ground in this beautiful defensive arc there for Ryung. And Solar just did not pull back fast enough. And now it's Ryung basically on, what is this, like pure Hellbat Cyclone? I guess there are 7 tanks mixed in with this, but 20 Cyclones in total. And Solar is so starved for resources right now.
So he's got the bottom right, which I think we're about to see attacked.
And he has resaturated the top left.
There's plenty of workers, sorry, there are plenty of resources, what I'm trying to say, available on the Terran side of the map. Like, we're 25 minutes into the game. Zerg has that base up there. No one's taken that.
Such a chaotic game. Even the high-yield Vespene gas only has 1 drone in it right now.
Oh, it does. I didn't even notice that.
Solar isn't really starved for gas right now. It's really minerals that is the bottleneck. But
okay, gets that 1 drone. The aliens are now going to have to just kind of commit into here. He's going to go for workers again. Only gets 3.
Yeah, I don't think Solar minds too much because at 52 drones, I mean, with his current economy, with the minerals that he has, 52 drones is about as good as it gets in terms of your mining efficiency. He will make a couple more and once again attack this top base, but really it's the bottom right base here for Ryung that is just carrying his economy right now. Oh, and he scans and sees it.
Sick. Okay.
I mean, that's somebody that has practiced with Solar a bunch.
Yeah.
It's just like, I know
say.
you're hiding an infestor here.
That's where you pause the game and accuse them of hacking. So he comes in here and wipes this out and just runs right back out. He killed 11 drones. Oh, you know, God. A couple Hellbats on that bridge there can cover those Cyclones pretty easily. So what we're seeing Ryung do, you might be like wondering, why isn't he, you know, trying?
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. Solar's having a very bad day.
The Korean casters almost sound depressed.
Yeah, they all,
hearing them cast this right now. It's painful. I mean, Solar, it felt like he almost had this. He was so close to breaking Ryung.
Yeah.
Ryung was struggling for what felt like almost 5 or 10 minutes to take another base and actually secure it.
This base is almost gone anyways. It's going to be killed off, but it's almost better to long distance mine. I don't know the exact amount on the minerals, but I think you guys all know what I'm saying. The top left is the only viable expansion that Zerg has, which makes it easy to just kind of go in there and hit. But the other thing to note, the way that Ryung's playing, he's really slowing down. He knows that the Zerg is going to inevitably run out, so all he has to do is kind of be really careful and tiptoe around the map and take fights that he's going to win. He has 2 choices. He can try to push in to that base at the upper left, or he can just let it run out.
Scan sees the Broodlords, by the way. Ryung already has 5 Vikings out, and he's just going to be pumping all of that gas into more.
This game is insane.
Yeah,
I
Ryung
thought
now,
this was going to be a forgettable series. Like,
it's-
I thought, you know, okay, Solar's going to kill Ryung, and that's too bad for him.
Oh, the high-yield Vespene gas is out. The gas income right now for Solar is 300 a minute. He's scrambling, man. He's taking another gas. He probably just realized he hasn't been mining from that for a minute.
Well, it's one of these games where there's so much that has happened. As it slows down, you can go back and be like, oh my God, I didn't take that gas.
This is very scary now for Solar. Unless he's able to take a solid fight here against Ryung, which is hard against this 3-3 Met composition.
Well, he could just start to make planetaries to protect the orbital, too, at the bottom right.
That's
you could
true.
actually make like 5 planetaries down there. It's like...
But I feel like the win condition for Ryung isn't even defending the bottom right anymore. It's just
I know.
preventing Solar from taking that top left base. And the thing is, you can siege that from the high ground base that Terran has.
Yeah. No, I think actually Ryung almost has this. I can't believe how many different ways I've described this game, because that's how many different situations we've been in, you know? Like, this is wild. He's going to come in here. He's going for the Broodlords.
Oh, the Snipes are coming in. The Vikings as well. The Broodlords are getting mopped up. Oh, the Vipers even getting move commanded in. I think Solar just F2'd this. I mean, the Parasitic Bomb is huge, but the Siege Tank's getting so much damage done on the Road Ravager. Now the Fungal, solid there on the front line, but the backline for Ryung might be a little bit too strong.
Dude, this is it, man. He's
I
coming
think
in now.
he's done it, Tasteless.
Dude, upset of the season. I can't believe this. I cannot believe this.
Oh, that is crazy. Yeah, Solar does not look happy with that one, man.
No, this is really embarrassing, man.
Imagine picking your teammate here at the round of 16. You must have tremendous confidence for the practice games, and then Ryung wins 2-0. I mean, this is one of the GSLs of upsets. I'm thinking back to the previous GSL where Mauro got knocked out in the first group stage. The first player out, I think, of Group A that season was Mauro. And now here, first season of 2024, we have Dark get knocked out in the group stage, and now Solar, the reigning champ, is down to the losers match against Ryung in the group of death. This is crazy.
This is insane, man. What a day. I can't believe it. Like, who else is in this group? Hero and Cure are going to be up next. This is wild, man. I can barely process it. Guys, stay tuned. We will be right back.
can't find the words to say now. To say now. Still holding my breath, still counting the steps it takes to get to you. Yeah. Counting the times I crossed the line and felt judged by you. I'm not bulletproof. Yeah. Banging on your door till you finally come through. Heart is so dark, can't say what I want to. Ooh. What's a man gotta do? What's a man gotta do to get close to feeling like I'm heading in the right direction? Always find myself coming back to the question. Ooh. What's a man gotta do? What's a man gotta do to get close to you? I spend my time in the shadows looking for proof, but I can't open the blinds no matter what I do. I'm climbing the walls, but I fall and blame it all on you. And blame it all on you. Banging on your door till you finally come through. Heart is so tight, can't say what I want to. Ooh. What's a man gotta do? What's a man gotta do to get close to feeling like I'm heading in the right direction? Always find myself coming back to the question. Ooh. Yeah. What's a man gotta do? What's a man gotta do to get close to you? What's a man gotta do? What's a man gotta do to get close to you?
I'm ready for the next phase. I am a pro, yeah, I'm an ace. I got the high score of the game, and I make it look so easy. I just run up the tally, start of the rally, take over the valley till I reach the finale. I'm taking over, call me the Ramses. Watch how I level up just like that. Level up, just like that. Watch how I level up just like that. Level up, just like that. Watch how I level up just like that. Come watch how I do. Front row seats, got tickets for two. I bought you the best view in the room. I'm on another level like a high heel shoe. You give me tunnel vision. 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 You give me
Man, I just can't get over that last game. I mean, I think we've all had these games where it's like we know we've won, but it's not ending, and we got to figure out like, okay, what's the exit to get to the door, to get out, to move on into the next round. And he basically tried to rush it. Solar did in that game too. It backfired. Ryung being patient, just kind of waited it out, stayed back, and ended up coming out on top. So
yeah, that was a crazy game. It was very back and forth. I thought Ryung was pretty much dead up against the ropes when the Broodlords pushed in, when he couldn't secure another base.
Yeah, there were like 3 different moments where I'm like, okay, well, this is coming to an end here. Anyways, so Ryung's waiting for the victor between these two players. Solar is at risk of being eliminated from the GSL, which is crazy to me. This is going to be Hero versus Cure. Tempo-wise, this should look different. This should feel different.
It should be a lot faster. Both these players are really aggressive. Cure for a long time, possibly even still, has the best TVP in the world, in my opinion. I think
so.
Maybe Clem is better now. It's hard to say, but I mean, Cure, best in Korea. I think even higher than Maru, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He is just so rock solid in this matchup. Hero, for what feels like the past 3 years or so, ever since he got back from military, has been the best Protoss player in Korea, but recently has been struggling in offline, has been struggling in GSL. But we'll see if he can turn it around now. I think he's hungry to finally get some big wins. It's been a while since we've seen him make a deep playoff push. But this is a tough opponent. Cure, TVP Master, coming off an incredible year. Many top fours, both in GSLs and in tournaments across the world. Let's see who's gonna take game 1 here of match 2. Cure versus Hero. Let's go on to Hardled. Just notice the huge gold necklace
He's got
that
a big
Hero's
gold necklace
got.
on, man.
Oh, that's cool.
On Hero's neck, yeah.
I like that. I didn't catch that the first time we had him on camera.
Dude.
Oh. Are we
He's gonna cheese him? What?
Proxy 2Rex.
But
Is this gonna be 2Rex Marauder? Are we gonna have a refinery? What's gonna go on?
Yeah, he is gonna get a refinery.
Yeah,
It's gonna be that Marauder cheese.
Let's go.
So this actually is one of my favorite cheeses, by the way.
I don't like it.
And I'm kind of like
I lose to this all the time.
This is one of my favorite cheeses. Like, not all cheese is made equally.
Look at the probe. If he spots this.
No, but he's gonna turn around. He's right-clicking.
No. He's gonna look. You gotta look. Here, you gotta check your corners, man. It's like an FPS.
This is crazy.
It's like you breach onto like a site and like you like half check the corner and then
Yeah,
you and your entire team just die because somebody sprays you down. That's gonna be Hero in this game potentially because he's walling in on the low ground. That pylon is gonna be so vulnerable. Oh, I'm worried. I'm concerned already.
Oh,
okay,
he's getting the Zealot. The Zealot doesn't help.
It helps a little bit. It might buy him enough time.
Yeah,
that
but
the pylon's not going to die.
It can't fight. It basically do damage once concussive's hitting it. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It might be, you know.
It's better than no Zealot, but yeah, it doesn't help very much.
It doesn't help. It's not going to win the fight.
Although he might just send it immediately cross map. I think that's almost definitely what Hero is going to do. There's no way you keep this at home. So
yeah, that's a good point. So concussive shells is making. Sorry, it's 2 tech labs, right?
It's 2 tech labs.
Okay,
yeah,
this
is a build that very often, if it goes unscouted, just ends the game straight up.
Yeah.
It's not a guarantee. Sometimes like you can get a surround with the probes or the Terran might miss micro, but this has the potential to end the game within the next 90 seconds.
Yeah.
We'll see. Stalker getting chrono boosted.
So remember that the primary infrastructure for the Protoss is at the entrance too. So really this is not about getting to the probes and killing it. It's about getting up.
And now he knows there's a proxy. Immediately chrono boosting the second Stalker. Shield battery going down. He's going to need a pylon on the low ground here as well. Second battery before the pylon. Cancels the Nexus. He knows what's going on. But the Stalker's already caught by the concussive shell. Can he get out of vision? Okay, he's barely out of vision. Probe's now going to try and come in. SCVs are going to go down. Second Stalker is out. This might actually be a hold for Hero Man. Those chrono boosts on the first and the second Stalker might have saved him, but the pressure is not done yet.
Oh, he's doing such a good job. With that many Marauders, you can one-shot a probe. Sometimes it's just about baiting them out far enough.
Keep in mind that is the only pylon right there in the front. Cybernex core is also exposed.
Is the Cybernex core what he should have been going for the whole time, since that's what lets you make Stalkers?
I think you want to get the Stalker kills, and then in a position like this one with the batteries, now you start chipping away at the wall. Because there's going to be no warp gate.
Yeah, well, if he does actually go and kill this, I'm just saying, I don't know if he should have been attacking that battery initially. I think so now he denies the warp gate. He can deny the gateway, and then once you get rid of the gateway, you can possibly win the game just by having so many more units. It doesn't matter, you know, who's controlling what.
Oh, he's coming in. He can actually out DPS. The shield batteries right now. Second Stalker, is it going to go down? The batteries are trying to heal. Microing back, but I think it's just enough Marauders.
Yeah, there's just so much damage coming out that the batteries become irrelevant.
Oh, it's so painful. Look at this Sentry trying to tickle him. All the batteries are going down. There is an Immortal coming out here for Hero. But this is almost over. I mean, the Zealot, even in the main base of Cure,
I didn't even realize there was an Immortal making here. I was so busy looking at just the fight over here at the front.
Yeah, he scrambled to throw it down right before the core died.
I mean, can he actually get here in time, though? I mean, an Immortal, it does beat Marauders, but how many Marauders does it take? Now the workers are getting lower and lower.
I mean, even if Hero cleans this up, which I think he will with the Immortal, it's 11 probes. Cure's just going to focus down probes from this point on if he wants. And
all right.
Oh, he's going to get the Marauder, actually.
Revenge of the Marauders.
Yeah.
All right, GG. That was, like we said, a different looking game.
I mean, that build, if it goes unscouted, it's killer. It's killer. Especially if you low ground walling like that one. If Hero went for the most greedy wall-in, and by greedy I mean like the most mineral efficient one where you build a pylon basically at the assimilator, you build the gateway in the main base, you have the core down there, it is still possible to hold. But when it's on the low ground like that, the cybernetics core is exposed, the gateway is exposed, the pylon is exposed, your units are getting produced right in the front where all of the marauders are. You have nothing to fall back to. You don't have any ramp or high ground you can control, so...
Man,
Hero.
that's a frustrating loss for Hero.
Yeah,
I mean,
Hero.
that's just one of those moments. You know, I thought Hero did a really good job holding that until, you know.
It's basically impossible, in my opinion. From that position, I mean, it's unscouted, and you're walling into the low ground.
Right, yeah.
Like, that was the best case scenario. He chrono boosted 2 stalkers. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't get better than that on the low ground. Anyway, we're going to go into game number 2. Cure up 1-0. Looking to go to the winner's match.
Okay, we've got Terran over here at the top left. Wait, is that... He's going to do it again?
Oh, no way.
I almost said, oh my god, he's going to proxy again. And I thought, no, that's making a depot. And now I'm looking at it, it's like, no, that's an SCV on the map.
Yeah, I want to see the refinery timing. Nice drawing, actually. That's really good. I like the shading. That's an artist. Let's see.
Let's see if Kira's an artist here. What kind of cheese is he going to give us?
I guess it's probably going to be a second barracks for Reapers. Oh, no, it's a bunker. What am I? I'm going crazy. I'm just seeing barracks everywhere now after that first game.
How will
man.
he get
I'm
Marauders this
so
way?
afraid. Yeah.
Welcome to the studio, guys. Glad you made it.
Sweden fan
And
club.
fan club.
Hero's not smiling after that one, I'll tell you that. Oh, it's an NG Bay block. Okay.
Okay.
The thing is, if we didn't just cast game number 1, I would see that with the barracks in the main. I'd be like, oh, he's going to go for an NG Bay
same
block.
thing. I'm like,
or-
well, how do you
or
get
a
Marauders
bunker.
over there now?
Just like, it's like a Pavlovian response now. Like, you see the SEV moving out. It's like, it's got to be
This
this.
whole matchup is just trying to get Marauders there before they could start whatever they wanted to do that game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be engineering bay block into a proxy cyclone would be my guess here with this.
Oh, interesting.
SCV.
Okay.
That's actually the second SCV that came out, so this is pretty sneaky here by Cure because the first one went home.
Well, when you see
Hero
the
saw
eBay
that.
block, a lot of times you're thinking, okay, they don't want me to expand, but this is going to be more of a developing a macro game. He kills that, so also you don't know if he expanded or not.
I
that
think
died sooner than you would want it.
I didn't see exactly how far Hero went up the ramp, but if he saw the double supply depots
Is
on
he
the high grounds in the barracks, then he should know that there isn't an expansion coming. It's got to be a factory. He doesn't know where the factory is.
Do you float it?
I think you
Because
just
the
make
observer
a
seems to be
cyclone.
suggesting that. He's like panning over that little area they can't see. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like we didn't see that since StarCraft 1 in 1999, man. Like,
It's possible. If Cure wants to be a real scumbag, he could throw down an armory and float it into the main base. That is something that is probably going to get removed in the previous patch. And yeah, look at this. Oh, he is a scumbag. Yeah, it's an armory. All right, this might be one of the last times Cure gets to cook this up. If you guys have not been following the PTR patch notes,
guys,
which are not
open a
live
beer.
yet, by the
Open
way.
a beer. Pour one out for the old patch. This might be the last time we get to see this.
Yeah, coming up in the next patch, most likely it will require drilling claws for Widow Mines to be cloaked after firing, but we are not playing on that patch yet. That is still the test patch. And so Hero right now going for Twilight Council,
so
no
cheesy.
Robo. Widow Mine coming into the main base. There is no detection underway. Hero is going to start that Robo in a second because he's about to hit 100 gas, I think.
Dude, that's crazy.
No, he
just
starts
done it.
another Stalker. He's going to delay it a little bit. I think he still doesn't know exactly what's going on, but he is in for a really bad time. Oh, he's going to pull him, too. He's going to wait
banking
until he
him.
has 2. Well, this is
This is
nasty.
some down and dirty scumbag nerd play here.
We need to try to convince GSL to use some of the crowdfunding money just to give Hero counseling after this game, man. This has been a tough series.
Yeah.
He's going to be traumatized.
Wow. Okay, I'm watching Hero's face now.
Yeah, 4 Stalkers going down. Now, or 4 probes, excuse me. He's going to try to come to the main base. Oh, the ramp?
Wait.
Here is going to have to pull SCVs. There is going to be a Robo in production back at home. But how much damage, realistically, can Hero get done with 2 Stalkers and just 1 Adept.
Oh!
Oh, he almost gets
my
it. No! 8 probes!
Dude.
I mean, as soon as this bunker gets up, the CC's just going to lift into the main. The Robo only halfway done. 3 more probes go down. Go post on Reddit, guys.
This is just... No, burrow him.
Revenge of the probes.
Does he have more Widow Mines coming? He's making them.
Yeah, there's another one just popped.
Snipe burrows went at the ramp.
You know, the really funny thing is, too, that Widow Mine right now, between the main and the natural, if he saw where the robotics facility is, if he banks a scan, he might be able to catch the observer coming into the main base.
Oh, that's a good point.
It's going to one-shot it if it does. Oh, please be a gamer cure. Let's do
All
it.
right.
Oh, not enough energy on that one. No, okay.
Uh-oh.
A man can dream.
Well, he's going to set this one
gonna
down
come
here. He
into the
might
natural.
not see this if he's watching the observer.
Okay, he does notice.
Oh, go, go, go,
Oh,
go,
you got to
go, go, go,
pull that probe away. Oh, the
Got two.
pops
Got
out.
two.
It's the shortest lived probe of all time, by the way. Immediately popped from the Nexus and just gets dumpstered by Widow Mine. Oh, man. Well.
Does he burrow that one there?
I am not going to miss this build. I will tell you that.
Look. He's going to get...
Oh, is Hero going to
I don't think Hero's watching. Okay,
he's watching. He's paranoid, man. I guarantee he's just checking this non-stop right now. But as it is, 22 probes per Hero. He's taking a ton of damage. Here, I think right now, I believe he's going up to 3 racks. He has Stim underway.
So there's also a War Prism that's out now.
I mean, Hero has to try and get
Somebody's
something done.
supposed to not be attacking right now. I don't know who it is, but it looks like they're both ready to attack into each other.
Hero's making a Templar Archives. He's like, I don't know what.
Oh, it's back!
Oh no!
Oh, the sequel's even better. It's like Terminator 2. Oh my God!
Look at Kira's face cam right now. That's the heart of a killer. No remorse. It's like watching a sociopath.
I can't.
They're gonna make a Netflix documentary about this guy with the Widow Mines in the main. But let's see. Hero does have an opportunity to get some damage done in the Babyverse.
Dude, what is happening?
In the natural, he's gonna have to recall. He's gonna lose Stalkers.
The thing is, he's gonna send the probes back, and then the Widow Mine's gonna kill them all.
The funny thing is, the Marines are gonna kill at least one Stalker down here. He actually went for the
Dude, this is like some
instead.
kind of a TVP funhouse right now. This is just...
You know, this might be one of the last times we get to see this build tasteless.
The
Let's
observer.
enjoy the moment.
Oh wait, where's his observer?
The observer.
Oh, it went back across the map. So yeah, he can't. Okay.
At least the factory's finally gonna go down.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Watch Kira drop a mule and repair it.
Yeah, he
landed
repaired
in the main base
or
again.
he gets one more Widow Mine to come out on the 3rd landing. It just burns down right when it pops out.
I didn't even see this one on the main base. Gonna get another. All right, well, let's see if Hero can stage the most miraculous comeback of all time. 29 workers to 46. Protoss generally at this stage in the game is a base ahead of the Terran. I mean, Hero is... I kind of like what he's doing here. I mean, there really are no right moves. It's only wrong moves, but he's doing the coolest of the wrong moves, which is going for Storm Drop. It's like, if you're going to die, at least have some flair with it.
Yeah. This is wild, man.
Maybe Cure's like mouse or keyboard disconnects and he can drop a couple of storms on him. Maybe he'll go AFK for a couple of minutes and Hero can fight back. Oh, it's so sad.
All right, so, I mean, worker count, it's 50 to 35. Cure is I mean, this was one of the craziest early games ever into what should be one of the easiest games for Terran from here on out.
I think you just get combat shields in +1 and move across the map with medevacs.
I think so.
What is Protoss going to have? The thing is, Storm, unless they're the most money storms of all time, and Terran is also not really paying attention. Okay, we might actually get that. We'll see. 5 seconds, though. Oh, man, he's barely missing this timing. Okay, here we go. Warp Prism coming down. Oh, that's some good storms.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
Yeah, that was good.
Not bad.
That's the beginning. There are 5 Templar on the field right now. There's more Templar than Stalker. It's basically all
the thing
Heroes
is,
got.
when you do like storm play, you do need to have like enough that it can clean up everything else after the storm.
Yeah, the point that I was going to make before is that unless you're able to catch Terran pretty far off guard or without medevacs or before combat shields is done, one storm is not going to kill much. It'll get everything in the red, basically, but you actually need Stalkers or Zealots or Colossi or something to actually damage them down generally, unless you're able to pair up the storms. And so this is a really scary prospect for Hero because he basically only has 6 Templar, 1 Immortal, And what is it, like 3 or 4 Stalkers in total? Yeah, 4 Stalkers. So the actual sustain in terms of damage is non-existent. It's really just the AoE. And Hero's making a valiant effort to try and come back in this one, but we'll see. I feel like Cure is just slowly biding his time. I mean, he even has ghosts coming out right now. That could just be really the breaking point for when he moves across the map. Although Hero does see these 2 medevacs in the main base, feedback and Blink Stalkers. Oh, nice reactions there by Cure. Not able to kill any of the medevacs.
All right, he's going to come up now. It's really going to be about trying to manage 2 very explosive moments in 2 different parts of the map. And, oh, is he just going to pull away? Sometimes this is like when you know you're dealing with a really good player. Is they're like, no, you know what? I'm ahead, and I don't want to just throw this away.
I think he's waiting for the ghosts.
I think so, yeah. Well, I mean, that certainly would be the counter to what the Templars have to offer here, so.
Oh, Blink isn't even, I thought Blink was
I thought Blink had been upgraded a while ago. I'm not going to lie.
I thought, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I was wondering for a moment why those Stalkers were getting Warp Prismed.
I thought Blink was ready when those Stalkers moved out with a Warp Prism earlier on.
I mean, Hero's doing a really good job of stabilizing here, but still 54 workers, 69. He needs some insane trades. He needs the most cost-efficient storms basically of all time to stop this army. I mean, Cure is just powering on 3 bases right now. He's full saturation. He's ahead on upgrades. Hero only just now has Blink, starting charge. It does have 8 High Templar, however, with a lot of energy. Keep in mind, he's only used 2 storms, I believe, all game long, and maybe like 1 feedback.
Oh, Warp Prism backs up. Very important he doesn't lose that. Every Templar is so important. You know, the Warp Prism is what's going to protect them from the EMP. Oh, nice snipe there. Just takes out the Observer.
Oh, nice storm right there on the go. So he's taking a lot of damage. Feedback as well.
He needs a... Does he have any more storms? I think he's got 1 or 2 more left over here.
He should have a bit more than that, I think, with all the storms or all the Templar areas banked up. That one on the right side comes through with another storm. Yeah, there's like 4 storms coming from the main base and 4 more from the third base. Let's see. Cure's just kind of stimming right through it. He's taken all of these storms.
He might have thought it was over, you know, that he actually had won the fight. He may still actually win this fight, by the way.
I mean, the sustain, like, those were incredibly good storms. Cure just kind of ate them. But the thing is that the sustain army on the ground, besides these 3 Immortals, there's basically no DPS at all. For Hero. Cure right now doubling their army supply despite that fight.
Yeah, EMP has just really hit all those Archons and Immortals.
Yeah.
The Immortals are dropping. 1 more Immortal down here at the bottom. I think this game's actually over. I think we're at the tipping point.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, man, this was a wild series. Cure really coming out with some of the craziest plays you could ever imagine.
That's about as cheesy as it gets, man. Proxy, double Proxy Marauder into Armory Widowmine in the main base is just so nasty. I mean, Hero's he is smiling a little bit about that one. He's like, yeah, that was dirty.
That was... I gotta say, that was one of the funnest series. Just like so intense.
Way.
Yeah, in a very twisted way. Props to Cure, man. So then this means we have Ryung versus Cure. God, all my predictions for today were totally off here. And it's gonna be in the losers match, Solar versus Hero, which should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's gonna be an insane losers match. And you know, Ryung, his TBT is arguably his best matchup. He actually has a chance to advance from this group, which would be insane. Guys, we'll see who's going to advance from the winners match. Cure versus Ryung coming up after this break.
Go ahead and take all your winnings, but one thing that you got to know, this is only the beginning. You never know where you may go, so hold on to the highs while you're alright, 'cause you know you're gonna come down, just a matter of time, and you will find everything comes back around, comes back around, comes back around, back around, comes back around, comes back around. So hold on to the highs So hold on to the highs while you're alright. Cause you know you're gonna come down. Just a matter of time and you will find everything comes back around. Comes back around, comes back around, back around. Comes back around, comes back around.
You don't care what you're doing to me. I've been down in the ruins so deep. All the games that you played, all the love you forsaken, you let it slip away. You don't care what you're doing to me. Every setback, every mishap, every time you say you gon' change. Say you get it, you regret it, I forgive it, but you stay the same. You should cry an ocean for me, for the dumb shit and the damage you've done. Cause I've been crying oceans for weeks. Tried to fight it, but I'm drowning alone. Sister, save me now. Save me now. Whoa. Sister, save me now. Save me now. Whoa. Shed a tear for me, baby, if you dare. Maybe then it would show me that you care. Cause your words never match what you do, how you act, so I can't just take you back. You fool me once, never fool me twice. If you love me, you'll react. You should cry an ocean for me, for the dumb shit and the damage you've done. Cause I've been crying oceans for weeks. Tried to fight it, but I'm drowning alone. Sister, save me now. Save me now. Whoa. Sister, save me now. Save me now. Whoa. Every setback, every mishap, every time you say you gon' change. Say you get it, you regret it, I forgive it, but you stay the same. You should cry an ocean for me, for the dumb shit and the damage you've done. Cause I've been crying oceans for weeks. Tried to fight it, but I'm drowning alone. Sister, save me now. Save me now. Whoa. Sister, save me now. Save me now. Whoa.
놀 때 놀아주는 걸 좀 중요하게 생각을 해서 후회 없이 놀았던 것 같습니다.
우승 이후에 뭔가 우승의 그 뽕에 취해 있었습니다. 게임으로서의 성취만 뺀다면 인생으로서는 만족하고 지내고 있었지만 한 가지 아쉬운 한을 올해는 좀 풀었으면 좋겠습니다.
정말 쉴 틈 없이 지냈던 것 같고 딱 이제 비시즌이라서 좀 쉬고 있는 단계인 것 같아요.
조성주 선수가 더 잘한다고 해도 세랄 이기는 게 좀 저는 그런 대회에서는 힘들다고 생각해요. 그래서 세랄이 GSL 와가지고 조성주랑 결승 한번 했으면 좋겠습니다. 그러면은 4대3으로 세랄이 이길 것 같긴 한데
제 개인적으로 폼이 약간 불안전하다고 생각해가지고 약간은 예상했던 결과긴 했는데 그래도 생각보다 너무 낮아가지고 좀 실망을 많이 했었습니다, 제 자신은.
도우기가 약간 칼을 갈고 왔더라고요. 제가 순진하게 당해버리는 바람에 졌는데 GSL도 또 똑같이 해줬으면 좋겠네요.
당한 입장에서 그렇게 생각할 수도 있었을 것 같아요. 왜냐면 굳이 서치하면 막을 수 있는 빌드여가지고 아마 좀 뒤통수 맞았을 거라고 생각할 수도 있을 것 같아요.
동원이 형이 명우 형이랑 1차 하는 것보단 이제 저랑 하고 그리고 바로 또 그때 디조가 저한테 지목을 당하고 바로 지목권이 있었잖아요. 그래서 동원이 형한테 편한 상대를 고르기 위해서 그래서 순전히 100% 동원이 형을 위한 선택이었습니다.
사실 뭐 좋게 포장해서 저를 생각했다고 하지만 제가 만약에 도우기 정도 실력만 됐어도 저를 뽑았을까요? 괘씸합니다. 근데 더 괘씸한 건 제가 그 자신이 없어요.
그러니까 저는 처음에 그래서 동원 형이랑 같은 팀이어서 둘이 얘기가 된 줄 알았어요. 그래서 바로 민수 얼굴이 떠오르긴 하더라고요. 뽑혔을 때.
계속 흘러 남다 보니까 오게 됐는데 사실 저는 딱히 죽음의 조라고는 생각 안 하는 것 같아요.
그 동원이 형이 생각하는 편한 상대가 저는 도우기 형을 좀 몰랐죠. 약간 묶기신 작전으로 저를 같이 떨어뜨리려고 저한테 좀 힘든 상대를 고르지 않았나 싶습니다. 저는 그냥 올라갈 거면 저는 동원이 형이랑 같이 올라가고 떨어질 거면 동원이 형이랑 같이 떨어졌으면 좋겠습니다.
민수한테 둘 다 좀 어려운 상대들이라서 저 잘 뽑은 것 같아요.
동원이 형 말로는 이제 민수가 뽑아서 괘씸해서 이제 조를 어렵게 만든다고 하셨는데 그거는 솔직히 저는 잘 모르겠고 저한테 좀 태태전이 워낙 자신 있으시니까 그래서 뽑았다고 생각이 들어가지고 이번에 좀 민수랑 동원이 형이 너무 얄미워서 준호 형이랑 같이 올라가겠습니다.
저거는 한낱 적으라고 생각하고 도우기한테는 원래 이번에 지기 전까지 자신이 있는 상대였고 그리고 동원이 형은 역시 약간 무난한 스타일이다 보니까 세 명 다 그렇게 자신이 있다고 생각한 것 같아요.
항상 아쉽게 떨어졌던 것 같아서 이번 시즌은 꼭 우승할 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
작년 시즌3 일단 우승자로서 광탈을 일단 최대한 하지 말아야겠다는 생각이 일단 제일 크고요. 8강만 가면은 또 우승할 수도 있을 것 같아요. 잘하면. 네.
e스포츠 월드컵에 지금 굉장히 힘든 상황인데 진출하는 게 목표로 삼고 있습니다.
이제 팀도 옮겼기 때문에 게이머 인생에서 제일 좋은 시즌을 보내고 싶고요. 너무 오래 못 해보다 보니까 잘하는 기분을 까먹었어요. 또 게임을 좀 잘해보고 싶어요. 이제.
Oh, sorry, guys. We're going to start the shot with a gunshot cough in your ears. Sorry. I didn't know my mic was on.
Usually they mic us up a little
That's how
later
we're going to
than
start
that.
every show from here on. It's me going, just coughing into the mic. What are we doing? What show is this? Is GSL. We're
GSL.
going into Cure versus Ryung. This is a TVT. And I'm actually especially excited for these two to duke it out. I think this is going to be a fun one. Ryung is clearly able to beat the very best of the best and do it on his own terms. And Cure did that scumbag factory float.
Yeah, that was really funny, actually. I'm not sure. I think the feed on YouTube and all the other platforms on Africa TV saw the same video that we did during the break, which was the player interviews.
Funny.
Hero, I missed the beginning of it, but he's like, yeah, I lost in IAM to Cure because he went Proxy T-Rex Marauder. He just caught me off guard. I hope he does it again in GSL. I think he just gets owned by it in game one.
So funny,
I've never heard the GSL crowd erupt in laughter from one of these interview games before. Oh, it's so good.
So crazy, man.
Two very different series, though. Cure versus Hero over in a heartbeat. Ryung versus Solar was long and drawn out, even though it was only 2 games. But right now, Ryung, TBT, his best matchup, in my opinion. I feel like he has a real shot of taking down Cure in this one.
I think you're probably right. This is going to be an interesting one. Could Ryung go all the way? Let's find out as we go into game 1 of the winners match. Okay, Cure in the top left, Ryung in the bottom right. TVT, you know, since the start of StarCraft, it's funny. In StarCraft 1, it was always the longest matchup, especially when you got good players. And then when StarCraft 2 came out, it was also the longest matchup for a while. And it has very quickly become, not very quickly, over the, I guess, what, 12 to 13-year evolution of the game, TVT's gotten to be a really action-packed action-packed and oftentimes short matchup.
I think Interference Matrix probably has the biggest
Yeah.
impact on that. Just the fact that you're able to completely break a position with siege tanks in a moment is pretty impactful in the early game. I feel like that's generally, if we see a killing blow that happens on 2 or 3 bases, it's almost always based on one player having a healthy Raven count, hitting a tight timing, just taking everything down. Oh, just came in for GSL. Welcome down to the studio. Look at these player cards. Wow.
He's got the collectibles. They're going to be worth $1 million soon.
Wow, we got to get those, man.
I know. Why don't I have those?
That's the real cryptocurrency.
Yeah, that's
the GSL.
Those are the real NFTs.
All right, so Kier going for low ground command center here. Ryung instead opting for a factory opening. I don't believe Kier actually saw that factory there with the SCV. I think it was just maybe 1 or 2 tiles shy of vision. But seeing no command center down in the low ground and also no command center down in the left side of Ryung's base should be a tell. So that SCV for Kier now immediately going cross map, going to check the corners, see if he can spot any sort of proxies, but this is just a relatively fast factory opening here for Ryung in the base.
So, no expand for a while here for Ryung. So he's going to have to be the first to kind of come out here and try to engage. Never mind, he's going to take an expand on the low ground here. I was wondering.
Oh, this could be pretty good for Kier.
Yeah,
he's got the SCV to tank.
This is definitely not the right moment to put this command center on the low ground here. So he can control the development of that. But with the second Reaper coming out, you can basically drive them away.
Man, and Kier knew the exact timing to pull that SCV and Reaper away, too.
Yeah.
Just gets 5 or 6 seconds of idle time on that command center and then immediately pulls back. Nice and clean. As Kier's factory now coming online and Ryung opening up with Cyclone and a Starport here. So just a little bit faster tempo-wise for Ryung, about 1 factory unit faster in total. Starport will be about 1 Starport unit faster as well, given the variance in builds. And I wonder what Ryung is really cooking up with this, because based on the games that we saw from him versus Solar, of course there's a different matchup in TBZ. He played all those games very greedy, very conservatively, almost going to a mine-out Maru-esque style. Oh my god, he pulled SCVs to repair it. He actually got it. That was kind of sick.
He pulled it off. Nicely done.
Yeah, that was awesome. But here against Kier, it seems like he is changing things a little bit with how quickly he is teching up. So I'm curious what flavor of TVT opening we're going to see from Ryung. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him get a little bit more aggressive here as opposed to what the games we saw from him versus Solar were. Because Ryung is one of those players that really likes Ravens. Just in general. I mean, he's maybe the only Terran that I see in late game TVZ, for instance, actually mix in a Raven with their army. How often do we see that in Korea or in international tournaments? It almost never happens.
When you mentioned it, yeah, I feel like I don't see it almost ever.
But it paired so well. Like the armor shredding missiles in game number 2 with the Cyclones didn't get quite as much done. But in game 1, when he armor shredded a ton of Broodlords with Liberator Splash, it was one of the sickest things that I've seen at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him go for another kind of Raven timing attack here against Kier.
What do you think about the tank in the mineral line at the natural for Ryung? Did you see that?
Maybe just to defend.
That's kind of smart because if you initially moved into that area, you would think there's nothing there, and you probably end up eating a tank shot.
That's a good move. Both players now starting up their Ravens.
He's got 1 tank sieged up in the main, the other one sieged up behind the, or kind of in the mineral line there. But it's possible when you're moving through here with the medevac, you would just like assume that the area is safe to come in and start to deal damage in.
Yeah, this is a really safe opening here for Ryung. Very conservative back at home. And
basically ready to like absorb an attack.
He might just be anticipating that Ryung is, or that Kier, excuse me, is going to attack into him and just wants to preempt that as best he can. Of course, with boosts, these medevacs are very hard to actually get killed.
So we've got the 3rd CC about to finish, whereas the 3rd CC for Ryung is about to start. So, you know, Kier's done a pretty good job of getting ready to grow while basically making Ryung respect the threats that Kier is generating on the map. Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, just a scouting medevac, I think, there for Ryung, trying to keep tabs on exactly what Kier is doing outside of his base. But given the fact that Ryung's expansion is, you know, just a little bit later in terms of tempo, I think we are looking at him trying to go for something like a soft contain or a small push at the natural expansion there of Kier and delay that 3rd command center from going down. Now that medevac is still going to be problematic here for Ryung. Just keep a Cyclone, a couple Marines back at home. to deal with it. And Kira, he wants, I think, to buy a little bit of time and force some units back with this.
Did he
but he's
actually
not
see that
getting
leaving
too
or not?
much. I think he did.
Okay. Well,
But perhaps he
maybe he didn't because he's
I mean, with Cyclone and the Marines in the front, he saw there was pretty much nothing else there in the main base. But
well, this is
who
pretty
knows?
god awful angle to.
Yeah, I think he's
to set up
actually
your
getting
tanks.
caught
Yeah,
off
so
guard.
he's getting completely blindsided here, and he's going to end up dropping 2 tanks. Oh, he needs to get closer.
A little bit awkward.
He jumped the gun a little bit there with the siege. I think it'll still be fine. That tank actually lives. Oh!
Yeah, both those siege tanks do get taken out, though.
A lot of SCVs being dropped here as well. Speaking of drops, in here in the main, in the bottom right, he's going to be taking out a decent amount of SCVs. Look at that. He can inch it with the Cyclone.
Yeah, and the Vikings are also here to shoo away the Ravens as well. So Ryung really playing the air control game. Got to be careful those Vikings, though. One does go down to the Marines, but a lot of SCVs going down on both sides. Natural drop here for Cure in the base of Ryung. Ryung with that one Cyclone kind of getting protected by the siege tank fire. It's eventually going to take a siege tank to unseat it from this natural expansion, but already 15, almost 16 SCVs going down. Cure's taking a beating, and Ryung has already equalized the worker count, and he still hasn't been dislodged from this very critical position at the third base.
So there's 2 big things happening. That gas is taken out, and SCVs can't mine at the third base. If he can just get one more tank in range of that command center, I don't know what Cure is going to do, but Cure is like hanging on by a thread right now. And keep in mind, the Ravens, they're going to get some more energy too. They could easily disable those 2 tanks out there real quick.
I think Cure is going to be going for a little bit of disable on his own, but it's hard given how high the siege tank count is here for Ryung.
Exactly. There's so many tanks that you're still going to have to be running in and taking damage. Oh.
Ravens coming in. I'm actually surprised that Ryung is going for this with Stim. He stims forward, is able to take down at least one siege tank. And look, most of the Raven energy is gone now for Cure. He had to drop auto turrets to defend that position.
Yeah.
And look, his Marines are even getting shelled by the siege tank. They're on whole position.
Dude, Ryung is our new god.
They're getting
I can't
shredded.
believe this is happening.
The thing
Oh,
is,
he's gonna
though,
play
there
the Vikings.
is
There's nothing here.
very little to protect these siege tanks now, and Cure already has an army supply lead, so while those initial trades were favorable there for Ryung, he might have overstayed his welcome a little bit too much here, as he did get cleaned up, but now that the dust has settled, Ryung really with very little macro back at home, only 24 army supply. He is ahead on workers, but now this is one of these attacks where the counter that comes cross-map might just be able to kill it, because the Raven count got completely reset there for Ryung. He was able to take good trades, but I feel like he almost missed a couple beats in terms of production there, or maybe it was all of the rallied units that just got completely decimated.
So he's
They're
coming
in front.
Now, it was crazy what Ryung was able to pull off there, but he's given up all of his tanks. So the
Right.
counterplay is real here for Cure. And the SCVs are going to be pulled. I don't know if they're... No. He's just going to drop all the workers. Oh, Cure.
Yeah, he's just going to be able to
Yeah,
power
he's
through
just going to kill him, I think. Like, Cure is our new god now. Switch teams so fast.
I mean, it looked like a really good push there for Ryung.
Tasteless the Fairweather Fancaster. Like, I'm so easily swayed.
It was looking really good there for Ryung with the initial push, but the fact that there were no reinforcements to protect those siege tanks, losing 5 siege tanks like that at the third base when you're already down a little bit in army supply because you traded out is just so brutal. You see Ryung trying to find any damage that he can get, stimming forward Marines, picking off another siege tank, but the fact is that Kira is now able to completely remove him from this third base location, and Kira, he did get bruised up a little bit there. Ryung did find himself into a good position, siege between the natural and the third base, but that overextension is really coming back to haunt him. I almost wish I could go into this replay and see exactly what happened macro-wise, because I felt like Ryung should have more back at home, but not only is he behind an army, he's also behind in upgrades. Kira's starting 2-2, and Ryung still is working on 1-1, so...
Yeah. With 2 base to 3 base, it's like there's no like yin and yang of like, oh, he's got this going, but at least he doesn't have this, but he'll at least have this. It's like you're just behind in every sense. And he's going to dive into the main. The main is basically naked. I don't see any defenses here. Yeah, the only thing that he has is the stuff that's rallying to the natural. So he's going to be able to siege up here. And if Ryung can't stop this, all of his infrastructure is going to die.
I'm not sure how you break this position here as Ryung. Even if you pull SCVs, there are just so many siege tanks in a perfect position. The Marines are stimming forward. Ryung tries to split, but that is not going to be enough.
Yeah, that's it, GG. He's our new god, Ryan.
It did look good for Kira.
It did. No, I think the thing is with Ryung is that like he should have just bailed out once he got the damage off.
Yeah, maybe he felt like he couldn't though because he
Did he have enough medevacs to even pick up? Now that I think about it.
No, he went Raven.
He had
into
Ravens,
Viking.
right? Never mind.
Raven into Viking.
Never mind.
I think if he hadn't traded out so many Marines for siege tanks, then maybe he could make something like that happen. But he got a little bit greedy there with the push. I think the initial timing was very good. He came forward with his Ravens. He was able to catch Cure out of position. Immediately took down 2 siege tanks. He got almost, what was it, like 16 worker kills? Maybe even more in the natural expansion there for Cure. He lost a couple SCVs back at home, but up until that point, it was looking pretty solid. The thing is that Cure, because of that early greed, he was macroing up an army a little bit faster than his opponent. And eventually he just had enough that he could break the position that Ryung had entrenched himself in between the natural and the third base, and then suddenly Ryung has no siege tanks left, he has no Ravens left, and the counterattack just completely decapitated.
It really does show you that there is a real disadvantage if you don't have enough medevacs. You cannot relocate. We're going to go on to Site Delta for map number 2. Again, the winner of the series, moving on to the round of 8. What do they say in the song? Doodle up? What is? I'm trying to figure this out this entire show.
Something's going to get loud, isn't it?
Does it get loud? I'm literally hearing.
Everybody, everyone in the crowd get
I'm
loud.
literally hearing doodle up, and I'm like, what?
Really?
Yeah, I'm like getting my little pen and paper out and doodling like a little dog. What are you?
When's the last time you got your ears cleaned? Should do that regularly, man.
Yeah, you're right.
We're getting older. I get my ears cleaned
that's
every
why
3 months. You know
that's
that? They're squeaky clean, man. I got those waxy ears. I gotta see the ear doctor on the regular. Actually,
that's clearly what I need right now. By the way, Ryung bottom right, Kier top left. I keep forgetting we don't have the announcer voice for the season.
Yeah. I first time I met my ear doctor, I walked in and I sat down and he asked me what I do, and this guy's like in his 50s or his 60s, friendly fella. Marine Marauder Medevac Maru, MMMM. Yeah, that's how you win a lot of GSLs. That combination. But yeah, I went in to the ear doctor. Like, this guy's like 50 or 60 years old, and he asked me what I do out here, and I was like, oh well, like I talk about video games. They pay me to do that. They're like, oh, what game? I'm like, StarCraft. And his eyes lit up, and he's like, do you know about Yellow? Do you know about Boxer? And he starts going. He's like, I love Bisu, man. Bisu's my favorite player.
That's
this
so
guy's like an
funny.
Ajushi. He's like 50 or 60 years old. Oh, it's really cool.
No,
it's so much
it's
fun,
wild,
man.
You
I
can
love
be like in a
interactions like
Korean
that.
taxi out here, and if you tell them what you do, like, so many people grew up on StarCraft out here.
I feel like a lot of, unless you come to Korea and you have those interactions, you might think it's overblown. What a big cultural phenomenon it is. But I swear, like, any guy that I see that's like up to 50 years old, especially like the 30 to 50-year-old range, it's like if you mention StarCraft, it's like all the boomers, man. They're like, yes.
And then if I go back to America and I'm in an Uber, they ask me what I do, and I tell them, and they go, that's not real. And I go, take me to my hotel.
Now, all right.
It's going to be expanding on both sides. Slow start. But, you know, like we were talking about earlier, mid-game TVT is pretty interesting in the current state of StarCraft 2.
Yeah, I think it's fun. It seems like it isn't fun to play, but it's fun to
Yeah,
watch.
you know, I feel like to play, it's like everything feels like really technical and glass cannon-y, you know? But as a spectator or a caster, I enjoy it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the interference matrix
And,
meta.
you know, honestly, because like right now, this is one of the rare moments where like GSL and ASL are on. Like I'm casting both. Like I just did 2 ASL recordings last night. God, TVT is so different in StarCraft 1 to StarCraft 2. I so much prefer the StarCraft 2 TVT.
Yeah, it can be really technical. It almost feels like watching a chess match
Yeah.
at times. Just the way some of these players are able to build these extremely refined openings that just hit the crispest timing with Ravens, with siege tanks, and just completely end somebody's game. At the top level, I love to see it. I like that kind of thing. I'm a build order nerd, so.
Oh, yeah.
It's fun. Unfortunately for Ryung, the opening didn't work too well last time, but this game, he's going a little bit different tasteless. Third command center.
Third CC. I feel like this is a pretty risky thing to do versus Cure. Because Cure's proven he's one of the scariest, like, mid-game TVTers. He's really good at getting that kill, like we were already talking about. And when you're taking a third base, even if you don't land it right away, you're just more likely to be killed or take damage early on. And so this time, Cure's actually just going to go for a really quick Marine drop. He's getting a Viking. He's getting a tank, too. Sometimes we see this where they'll harass over here and then pull back out, loop around, and try to do a push from the front.
Yeah, interesting, though. Interestingly, though, I don't think on either side we're seeing any Ravens coming out this time. It's mostly just the Siege Tank Vikings. So a little bit more of an air control game as opposed to disables, as this medevac drop is going to come in. Ryung with a good read on it, but only 4 units here on the low ground. So it's actually funny, these grenade micros coming in from medevac. It's not something you see that often, but Cure does have more bio here on the ground. Ryung a little bit disjointed coming in, trying to stop this drop. Now the Viking will eventually be able to clean it up, so Cure is going to lose these units, but it's not that bad of a trade overall. The thing that I'm worried about is he didn't scout the 3rd command center, I think, here, so he doesn't know exactly what the build is. He might be able to glean based on the unit counts that Ryung should have more at this stage, but he did not confirm the CC, and still he's feeling confident enough to push out.
Yeah, he saw the lack of buildings, but you know, with incomplete vision, you still don't know.
Wow, Ryung.
Oh, Ryung, seriously, 2 eBays again?
This isn't solar, man.
Yeah.
That's a little bit
Now
scary.
I've lost respect for this build. I'm like, you just do this versus any race? Like, what? Okay.
It is a little bit different this time. Ryung is going back into Ravens, so it was a handful of Vikings early on into Tech Lab Raven. Interference Matrix is coming through. Only 2 Siege Tanks on the ground here for Ryung, though. And I'm wondering if Cure, with this higher Viking count, is able to just kind of shoo away and zone out the Ravens. If they're going to really be that consequential, because I don't think this is the kind of situation where the Ravens are going to be able to get on top of the Siege Tanks if they are well positioned and really force Cure out of an entrenched spot. It's going to be hard, I think, for Ryung to leapfrog this with 3 Vikings out in total. But we'll see. I mean, that Raven's already taking so much damage.
Is he going to get it?
He might even get this. I'm surprised he didn't die further.
He's going to start to leapfrog the tanks up here.
Yeah, one more volley.
This bunker is going to have to be canceled.
Just
gets destroyed, yeah. He only has 1 tank. Yeah, there is a tank on the high ground, but I think you can basically ignore it. I think you could be just out of range and still do damage.
The real issue here for Ryung right now is he doesn't have vision. Siege tanks, they can shoot further than they can see. So for Ryung to get the correct information that he needs to position his Siege tanks, he needs to do this. He needs to sacrifice SCVs to see exactly where they are. He needs to scan, whereas Cure has complete information with these Vikings that are protected by the Siege tanks on the low ground. So for Ryung, it's almost a guessing game. It's why he keeps scanning like this. But eventually, that lack of information is going to come back to bite him.
I mean, he's just not quite in range, Cure is. Like, he's not hitting anything. Not even like, even if you're hitting a refinery right now, that would help. But, okay, so here he is. He's now hitting the command center. He's got the Liberator set up here. Now there's a clock on Ryung. Now he has to figure out how to stop this.
Well, the Ravens might try to come in from the side to get disables on those tanks.
Yeah.
That could be the moment that Ryung is able to move forward on this position, but the Liberator really does complicate things.
Oh my God, the tank!
Oh my goodness, so much damage. Ryung's gonna have to try and break this down.
Yeah, well, he might let the command center get a little bit more damage and then move out.
Yeah, he's waiting for 1-1. Infantry weapons just completed. Okay, the Ravens are gonna come in with a disable flank.
Oh my God, he's gonna lift it, but then the Vikings were able to kill the command center.
Oh, he's not repairing the CC, it goes down. Disables on 3 of the Siege tanks. SCVs are getting pulled, the Marines are coming forward, but there's still so much splash damage here for Cure. He's focused firing down the Siege tanks. Ryung has to lift up 28 SCVs go down.
That was wild.
Wow.
It's like the only way it gets worse for Ryung as we look at his main, and that command center's blown up too. That was insane.
Push. I mean, Slight Delta just in general is one of these maps where the Siege tank push is so deadly.
Yeah, well, I mean,
in
you
a
have
variety
this,
of matchups.
Straight line across the map. You get there very quickly.
I mean, Cure is really playing the air control game superbly here.
I don't know if he can recover from here.
I don't think you can because he doesn't have the scans, really. He lost the command center. He's going to try and go for a drop in the main base. If he's able to get a ton of uncontested damage done, this could be his way back into the game, but he's literally mining off of 1 base right now. This is kind of a Hail Mary play. He does have 1-1 Sim Marines. So that is what he has going for him, but he's even coming in from this angle right into a Siege tank. I feel like he needed to catch Cure by surprise here. I mean, Ryung is just absolutely up against the ropes in this moment. 59 SCVs to 27. He has half the Siege tanks. The only thing he really has going for him is the Marine count, but what can he really do with that? You can't break this position with just pure Marine. I mean, he only has, the 1 medevac that's cross-map? He has all the upgrades in the world, but he can't use them.
Yeah, he can't get in a situation where he can take advantage of it. I mean, I don't blame Ryung for staying in the game. I think he's got to try to fight for his tournament life as best he can. But this is rough to watch. Still 3 tanks in the back there. Marine's getting obliterated as they try to run away. The Viking's going to come up here and try to do some more damage to that tank. And I think this is going to be one of these 1-2 punch games. I think punch 2 inbound right now. All right, he's going to come in again, but now there's Marines that can stim in.
Yeah, what a build by Cure. I mean, Ryung is just trying to go for it from all sides right now, but tripled in supply. GG is called. Cure going to advance in first place from this group in a really convincing fashion. All of his games were short and sweet.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Man.
Ryung a little bit outclassed there.
I mean, what are you going to do? Cure is just looking very strong. So Ryung is not out, guys. He's going to go to the final match of the evening. We're going to switch it up with a PVZ coming up next. First, though, an interview here with Cure.
All right, let's see what Cure has to say. Coming off a really clean win. I love that build from him there in game 2. Just delaying the upgrades, delaying the macro, going right for the throw. Now let's hear. So they say, hi Cure, you made it to the quarterfinals without dropping a map. How are you feeling? And Cure says, in my group, I mean, this is the group of death. There are so many strong players in this group, and I wasn't sure about the TBT versus Ryung, but things kind of went as I expected, and I was able to win. So your performance was really surprising. And even in TBT, you won so decisively in Game 1 and Game 2. And even your builds were kind of surprising. And Cure says, actually, I kind of recycled all of those builds. I used them in the past. They're something that I'm familiar with. And so I just wanted to mix them back in again, and it worked. So Cure, you made it to the quarterfinals consecutively. Before we even started the matches, you said that you've been making it deep. You're going to the Saudi Cup later this year. You're playing very well recently. How are you feeling about your performance? Cure says, well, I pretty much just did what I prepared. I played what I was comfortable with, and everything went according to plan. And looking at the quarterfinal brackets, you are not going to be playing against Maru. I think they said he's going to be going up against Crowdfunding. And Cure says, yeah, I am satisfied with my group in the quarterfinals. Of course, it will be tough. It's strong opponents there in the round of 8, but overall, I'm feeling confident and I'm feeling happy with my performance. Even today, I feel like there's a lot of fans supporting me here in the studio, and it lifted my spirits. And Cure says, he feels like he keeps getting very deep in GSLs, especially last year, and just gets eliminated by narrow margins right at the end. So he's going to try and lift the trophy. And if he keeps playing like that, Tasteless, I think he might. Guys, we're going to go to a short break. When we get back, the Group D elimination match, Solar versus Hero. See you in a minute.
can't say no. Baby, can you just stay another night? Keep you close, don't go home. Baby, can you just stay another night? If you say so, I can't say no. Baby, can you just stay another night? Keep you close, don't go home. Baby, can you just stay another night? Yeah, I won't let go, 'cause I don't wanna waste another night alone. Don't go home, I'm gonna ask you to stay another night. Yeah, I won't let go, 'cause I don't wanna waste another night alone. Don't go home, I'm gonna ask you to stay another night. Too many nights spent lonely in this bed. You're all I want. To keep me warm, wish you were here instead. I'm all alone. If you say so, I can't say no. Baby, can you just stay another night? Keep you close, don't go home. Baby, can you just stay another night? Yeah, I won't let go, 'cause I don't wanna waste another night alone. Don't go home, I'm gonna ask you to stay another night. You say so, I can't say no. Baby, can you just stay another night? Keep you close, don't go home. Baby, can you just stay another night? Yeah, I won't let go, 'cause I don't wanna waste another night alone. Don't go home, I'm gonna ask you to stay another night.
Yeah, the first step is showing up, now we're here. Yeah, the first step is showing up, hit 'em chill. Yeah, the first step is showing up, now we're here. We're blowing up, hit 'em chill.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for waiting. We are going into the elimination match, and it's kind of a weird elimination match because it's Solar versus Hero. I actually thought both these guys would be in the winners match today. It's crazy to think one of them is going to be out of the GSL after this best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, don't call it the group of death for nothing. Even Ryung showing up, 2-0ing Solar to start off the night. Now Solar, the reigning champ, fighting for his GSL life here against a Hero who is very, very good at PvZ. I mean, Hero, his PvP is solid. His PvT, maybe not that good lately in terms of form, but PvZ, he has just been an absolute killer for as long as I can remember. He revolutionized the PvZ matchup for what feels like, you know, six to 9 months or so before the Zergs finally eventually, you know, figured that out. And the game continued to evolve, but he is still one of the best PvZ players, if not the best PvZ player in the world. And I could see Hero actually taking this and going all the way to that final match. I think there's a real possibility that Hero wins this, especially with all the bling he's got on his necklace. I think he's feeling confident.
He's got the gold, man. He's got the gold necklace on, that's for sure. We're going to go into this game. It's loading up right now. Site Delta for map 1 with Solar versus Hero starting now.
Everyone in the crowd, you can feel the same.
Solar here in the top left, Hero in the bottom right. The games we saw from Hero earlier, I don't think there's going to be representative of where he's at or what he can do.
No.
I mean, Cure came out so fast. From California, welcome.
I'm from California. Look at that. And Tato Hero.
Tato Hero. Protoss speakers in the audience. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Cure came out so fast with his, like, openers that, like, Hero is just victim to, you know, the kind of game that Cure was dictating here. But I think Hero should look more solid and stronger if we get into like a macro game where they can both develop a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like in PvZ there isn't too much the Zerg can throw at you at the top level that's going to just completely train wreck your game plan the same way that Cure did to Hero in Game 1 and Game 2. And on Hero, it is kind of on him. He didn't scout the Proxy T-Rex Marauder, and if you don't scout that build, it can just be game ending. And the factory and the base, I mean, that's getting patched out eventually, right? It won't be too annoying, but I'm with you. It's not very indicative of where Hero is at right now as a player. I think even if he wins this match and he goes up against Ryung, I don't think the PVTs he played against Cure are going to be at all relevant to what the expectation should be for him in that series. And I'm kind of curious what he has in store for us here in PvZ. Hero has always been, you know, ever since he returned from military service, and even before then, he's always been one of the players that you want to watch to learn really how to ruin a Zerg's day, basically. He's kind of been a PvZ sniper.
Well, he
so
really figured out how to punish, you know, the way the Zerg operates, and do it from a, you know, pretty unturtled position. Although I think turtling is pretty popular right now in PvZ. We'll see what kind of game we're going to get. I always look at Heroes PvZ differently than any other Protoss player. There was a period where it almost looked like he was like a fourth race or something with the way he approached it.
Yeah, the first player to really go mass Blink Stalker
Disruptor, yeah, Oracle's covering it. Kind of this active, aggressive play where it was not really about pushing. It was about like coming in and doing damage and then running back out without losing very much. And over time, the Zerg just crumbles.
And mass expanding behind it too.
Yeah, and sometimes
so many bases.
Even out expanding the Zerg, which looked weird.
Yeah, looked weird, but was really fun to watch. Oh, this Adept, if he was a little bit faster, might have been able to get that creep tumor. Would have been very close, but instead just going to get some scouting information here coming in. Sees a drone count at the natural, nothing too crazy. As Solar's going for a relatively normal build. And same here for Hero. I believe that was a 217 Stargate going down, which is about as fast as you can get it, unless you do some really crazy opening. And so Solar coming in now with the Overlord is going to see about as much as you can, given the positioning of Hero structures here. Of course, against a Stargate, you generally don't want to go double Overlord Scout, because if they see two Overlords as the Protoss player, they usually just follow up with a Void Warrior or a Phoenix after the Oracles and get a lot of easy kills. So Hero's going to take that really fast third base here, drop it down, and now we'll get to see exactly what his tech of choice behind this is going to be. Hero, I know on Site Delta in the past, a couple of months ago, he was a really big fan of opting for a Twilight Council and going for Mass Clave Adepts, just as an opening to pair up with the Oracles, but online cups versus coming here offline in GSL, we have a lot of time to prepare. We could see something a little bit different coming out from him here. Very interested to see where this goes.
Yeah. So for now, it's going to be a little bit slow. The Lings are going to come up here, try to get us around. A lot of times you'll see a pylon adjacent to the Nexus, so you can kind of wedge the Adepts in there. But that was a pretty good catch from Solar. He comes out and wipes out that one Adept. Twilight Council and Forge are coming down. All signs that Protoss is going to need to tech up for a while before any action can really occur. And I don't know if there's much of an incentive for Zerg to try to attack in here, so I think we're just going to continue to see development on both sides.
Yeah, especially with the Oracles out on the field, it will be tough for Solar to really get too much done unless he heavily commits to a push. Something like a Queen Drop or Queen Nidus, something that a Dark would do. But Solar instead is content to pretty much macro back at home, play a more defensive game so far. Just poking and prodding around the map with these Lings, trying to keep tabs on his opponent. And Hero is going to go for +1 and Blink. So not an Adept opening this time, not a Glaives opening at least. Now, I'm very curious to see how many gateways Hero is going to throw down, because there's a couple different ways you can play this here as Hero. You can try to go for a relatively low gateway count and continuously produce Stalkers and eventually take a fourth, add in some additional tech. Or we might see Hero just go full Gateway Man, as he is very wont
Yeah,
to
here
do.
we go. This is the hero I know.
And it's the Gateway Explosion.
And it's also important to note where he puts the gateways.
Yeah.
Like old day PvZ, you'd have all the gateways in your main, like where they're safe. But what he does is he creates walls with them so that he can't be counterattacked, so he can stay present on the map. Now, it's been a little bit. I mean, I haven't gotten to cast that many hero games, but I want to see, when it really counts here versus Solar, how well this does. Because Zergs have had a little bit of time to digest and process the style of play. State, I know when you and I were casting a lot of this, it was like kind of crazy to see, right? We just didn't know that this was like an approach you could have, but now it's really like part of the meta. It's an understood thing, so I want to see how Solar handles it.
Yeah, behind all these gateways, Hero's actually mixing in a relatively fast second Forge, so he's going to be prioritizing upgrades quite a bit. This tells me that it's not going to be necessarily an all-in here, and in fact, that probe coming out to take the 4th base, this is kind of looking reminiscent to the old Hero style where he just focuses on getting a ton of Blink Stalkers and macros up a Storm behind it. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that Nexus get thrown down any moment here. Solar coming in with a very clutch scout, seeing that double Forge. Does let him know this isn't going to be too heavily committed here from Hero, but still, there's a lot of aggressive potential with the army that Hero is amassing on the ground. Worth noting, by the way, worker counts dead even. Hero's been doing a really good job keeping tabs on Solar, and also this shows that Solar is paying a lot of respect to Hero too. He is not overdroning. He understands how capable Hero is of just being explosively aggressive. Finally, Protoss working their way across the map.
Yeah, so this is the moment we've been waiting for, is the pressure. How does Zerg deal with it? How nimble can you be with the Stalkers? Can you get in, do the damage, and get out? You're going to be very reliant on Blink. You want to let the shield soak up some of the damage, pull away, use the Oracles to make it, a little bit, the Zerg's in a little bit more jeopardy if they commit into this. And you just kind of shave down the Zerg over time. Now you got to be careful because when you're fighting on creep, the Zerg is going to have that speed boost, so they can get in there and do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, Solar was able to shave away at the Stalker count a fair bit there. And actually going to go for a Lurker Den and Hive Tech. So it seems like Solar's playing for a really heavily ground-based style here, should he go into those Lurkers heavily. And that's kind of a pretty solid response to what Hero is doing, unless Hero can completely pull him apart with a gateway-based army and just catch him off guard by hitting a base, maybe at the 12 o'clock when Solar expands there, or down at the 9 o'clock position. Hero definitely will have the mobility advantage. But for now, Solar does seem very stable, working his way all the way up to 85 drones. Hero back at home, adding into robotics facility. 4 Templar as well, getting Storm. So he's committing quite heavily into ground. And I'm thinking back to Group B when we saw Stats and Classic both play a relatively fast Sky Toss transition in pretty much all of their PvZ games, I think. And Hero is going for a bit of an older style, something that he's more comfortable with. But the problem is that eventually against the Lurkers, unless you are able to find windows as Protoss to get significant damage in, their army is just going to beat your army. Because Lurkers are so hard to deal with, especially with a low-tech army. This is almost like, if you think back to Heart of the Swarm or something, it's almost like the Protoss is the Zerg going Roach Ravagers, or Roach Ravager, or just mass roaches. And the Zerg is the one that's making the high-tech units. It's almost a role reversal in that sense. And it would be really tough for Hero, unless he's able to catch Solar out of position, to actually get big damage done. And so far, Solar's defense has been pretty much impeccable.
Yeah, I like the Lurker approach here. It's like, how are you going to come in and shave anything off if you attack enemy and you lose more, right?
I'm waiting to see if we have additional Stargates come down for Hero, but he just really might want to play the game where he's going to try and keep Solar pinned on 4 bases.
And
We'll
so,
see.
there hasn't been much of a splash here from Hero. He's tried to come out, but, Solar's basically disengaged and then just turtled into Lurker Tech. Hero's going to try to come up here from the very top. I don't know how much he can get done with this, though. There's so many Lings out. He's probably going to be forced to use a recall here.
Yeah, he might be. Those Lurkers all the way in the front, slowly creeping forward, now going into the middle, and it looks like Solar is a little bit disjointed up there in the top right, so Hero is able to retreat with the majority of the Stalkers. Lurkers alone. Oh, this is such an ambitious move right here by Solar.
This is a little crazy. I don't know about this.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is very risky. Zealots are warping in. If Solar doesn't get here to reinforce, these Lurkers might be dead because Hero's going to have a 360 surround in a second with a ton of storms.
Lurkers are considerably worse if you can get them from a bunch of different angles. There's a lot of them, so a lot of these Zealots are still falling, but we're seeing that Lurker count get lower and lower and lower.
Yep.
The Archon here hitting from the side. All these Lurkers are going to fall. Man, Solar, he's having a rough day here.
That trade wasn't the worst for him because the reinforcements came in and we're actually able to get some damage done on the left side. But yeah, that is not how you want to use your Lurkers in that situation because now the Lurker count has been reset down to 0. The standing army for Solar is really weak. Yeah, Mothership immediately getting started here.
Well, he's going to be able to hit when the eggs are still morphing here.
Oh my goodness, yeah, this is going to be a ton of damage.
I mean, I don't know that Hero can win the game outright here, but this is going to be bad because 12 o'clock's going to fall. The Immortal gets surrounded, not bad, but then again, maybe the least important unit out of everything we've got here for Protoss, considering what Zerg is fighting with, which is Hydras and Queens.
Yeah, all the Lurkers that morphed in just got immediately killed, and now Hero blinking into an arc right now. There is a lot of Zerg here, so I think Solar should eventually be able to clean this up.
These Immortals in the back are looking pretty good now, with the Roaches coming into the mix.
Yeah, Solar's taking a ton of damage. She's just barely holding on here at this 4th base. Reinforcements of Lings and Hydras are coming in.
Dude, Zerg's taking the top. I'm sorry, Protoss is taking the top right.
Yeah, Hero just continuing to expand. Mothership almost complete. War Mortals getting added in. Shield upgrades already coming through now for Hero. That 2-4 is really paying off. I mean, the fact that Immortal was able to take up so much damage just really shows the power of the 2-Forge here is there's no melee upgrades right now for Solar. So the fact that he has to make Lings like this to try and reinforce quickly, it's not very good for him. It almost reminds you of the game versus Ryung where he had some early Ultras and some early Lings with no melee upgrades against somebody that just had +2 armor already on the map.
Yeah. And now with the next wave coming in here, I'm curious if Solar can hang on. Like, he barely survived that last attack.
Yeah, and this is going to be a 2-prong attack.
Yeah.
Mothership coming in on the left side with a ton of Zealots, I think, over here at the top right.
So he's got that Lurker bulk out again, which is good. But, wait.
Oh, he's getting pulled out of position. That hatchery, if it gets right-clicked, is instantly going down to these Zealots.
I'm surprised he didn't actually right-click it right now, but I guess it doesn't matter. The Zealots are going to have their way with that location over there. And here we go. This hatchery is going to go down. And basically for free. I mean, normally you'd think at least the Zealots would be traded out, but he's not even able to get over there and fight it. The Zealots are going to just make sure he's going to come up a little bit further here. He gets it out. He identifies where the Lurkers are, too. So now I think the Protoss can come in here and poke out the other base and knock Zerg onto 3 bases.
Oh, there's even more Lurkers, actually. There's 15 Lurkers on the map. I didn't even notice
this
these ones on
entire
the left
supply
side,
is Lurkers. All right, GG. More Lurkers than drones.
Yeah, that was
more Lurkers than viewers in this game right now.
Ton of Lurkers. I mean, I felt like Solar's position wasn't that bad until he walked across map with completely unprotected Lurkers.
He's having a bad day.
That was a full 360 surround. There were Zealots that warped in at the linear third. There was an army at the triangle third.
Yeah, how often do we ever see Lurkers get surrounded? Almost never, and that's because you know you need to stay back at angles with Lurkers.
I feel like if Solar made that move and he had a modest amount of supporting units with it, that's a game-winning move. That's a position that's very hard to dislodge for the Protoss player. You can get a ton of damage done. But it didn't really play out for Solar the way that he was hoping. I think he was expecting to be able to reinforce with the rest of his units a little bit more quickly there.
Yeah.
But the fact that all of the Lurkers came in completely unprotected was just, I mean, that's not how it went to plan. That was really rough.
No. And I mean, even at the end there, he wasn't able to cover his bases. I mean, when you get that many Lurkers and lose them like that, you've completely lost any control of the game. It's weird, too, because it looked to me like there was no way that Hero was going to do any damage when the Lurkers were turtled. I thought the play would be to then just take another base and keep camping and teching. But yeah, when you move out on the map like that, I mean, it's a big risk for sure.
It can be a game-winning play, but only if there's significant support on the ground. Because I think what Solar was trying to do was hit a timing window before there's any sky toss transition.
Yeah,
just get on top of a base. I mean, if he was able to get on one of either the third base or the fourth base with those Lurkers, siege the front, find out where the army is, and then move to the unprotected base.
Yeah.
And if he did that with some Hydras, some Roaches with that army, then suddenly it looks very different. But just the fact that everything was so disjointed from Solar's side. It feels like kind of the theme of today for him is just the army movement hasn't really been great. I'm thinking of the game on Alcyone versus Ryung, where he was running a pretty low-tech composition against mech that eventually came into Ghost Mech, and the trades were not cost-efficient, but they were good enough for a while because he was able to keep Ryung from taking a base on the side, and Ryung was almost out of money. He was like 150 supply. Solar had a huge bank, but then there was one overextension, and then there was another overextension from the Zerg, and suddenly Terran had all map control. And I feel like that was almost the same story here for Solar. He handled the early game defense very well against a hero that was active with Link Stalkers, was able to get up to Lurker Tech. He got a good number of Lurkers out as well, was able to expand to 4 or 5 bases, and then he moves cross map with the Lurkers, and they just get cleaned up because it's out of position. Guys, we're going to go into game 2. Hero leading 1-0 in the elimination match. I feel like I was going to say more there, but I forgot what the name of the map was. Go into Alcyone.
Okay, Solar in the top right, Hero in the bottom left. So far, Solar has not had a good game, or at least not one where he can close it out. He's had moments of brilliance. It looked like he was, at the very peak of his whole career not long ago. But today, this is a real challenge. If he's going to get out of this group, he has to win a lot of games back-to-back.
Florida, USA, welcome.
Yeah. So great to have an audience here tonight, guys.
People want to see Solar go to the round of 8 really bad. Foreign fans and Korean fans alike. But so far, it just hasn't really been his day.
Well, I mean, especially that last game was pretty bad. And the end of the second game versus Ryung was pretty bad.
Yeah, it seemed like the mid game was quite solid for Solar. I actually thought, we're going back to that game because it was just so mind-numbing.
Yeah.
The turnaround that happened, but...
Well, it was not your normal StarCraft game. I'll say that much. It was
neither was the previous one. It just feels like these overextensions are really coming back to bite him. So that's one of the reasons why we had that short pause between game 1 and game 2, is because Solar, he went to the bathroom. I think he collected himself a little bit.
Well, I think that's a smart move. I mean, you got to take advantage of all the aspects of the tournament that are available. For some players, like, they're riding that momentum, they know what they did wrong in the game they lost. They want to get right back into it. And in other cases, it's like, okay, I need to take like 2 minutes and just clear my head and try to come back, with a reset mindset.
Yeah, because he's the reigning GSL champion, about to go 0-4 in this group and get eliminated first by Ryung and then by Hero. And I could see against Hero, but Ryung was his choice coming into this group, and it's almost...
Well, Ryung's been the wild card of this group, in that, I've had so many days where I just see him play pretty well, but not up to, par compared to the other players, and get flushed out. But here he's looked really, really good. Of all people to beat Solar, kind of crazy. This game is starting out very similar to the previous game. I wouldn't be shocked if Hero just kind of does the same stalker aggression, kind of gateways out on the map, blocking off counterattacks and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways you can play it here as Hero, but that certainly does seem to be his comfort zone. The fact that he played the meta a little bit differently than we saw in Group B from both Stats and Classic when they played against Dark is interesting to say the least, but I do like that he's kind of adapting a little bit of his play to the way the Korean meta is evolving in this matchup. I mean, I don't know how many motherships we've seen so far in the round of 16, but I guarantee you it's more than any other GSL code has.
Yeah. Void Ray coming up here.
Okay.
So this can oftentimes be like some of the most conservative and ambiguous positions for the Zerg, for the Proto. Like, let me rephrase this. When the Void Ray kills off the Overlord, Zerg really just doesn't know what's going on and doesn't have a way to find out for a while. So when you see a Void Ray, it never necessarily means one thing or the other, from what I understand.
Yeah, it's a good way to deny scouting here from Solar, because I think Hero wants to be a little bit unpredictable in this match. He is going to follow it up with the Oracles, but even thinking back to game number 1, the Oracles really didn't get that much done. I think in total they got maybe 3 or 4 kills, and that's about
I think what you do is you see if you can do damage, but really you're hanging on to them because you want to pair them with your Stalkers later on.
Yeah, and secure the third base.
Yeah. So we got to wait and see what kind of game Hero's going to bring here. It could be the same stuff we've expected. It could be something different.
Two more additional gateways getting thrown down actually with the Twilight Council. Relatively quickly here on the main base as well. So he wants to build this in a spot where Solar can't really scout it. He's not going for the gateway walls.
He's going to go for
Baneling nest.
Adepts.
Glaives against Banelings. Oh,
yeah.
this could go quite badly for Hero.
Yeah,
we'll
I was going to
see.
say, like, one of these units is better than the other when they fight.
There is a world where Hero is able to take some good fights around like minerals, for instance,
Sure,
with
yeah.
excellent splits, and somehow is able to pick off the Banelings, you know, either with Void Ray or with Oracles, although I think it might only just be the one Oracle. But on paper, this is looking pretty good for Solar thus far, especially if Hero decides to get very aggressive with this.
Yeah, he is getting a Forge.
Now, if Hero is able to catch wind that this is coming, because Solar is cutting at 42 drones, by the way. He's building nothing but Lings right now, so he wants to basically Baneling bust down the third base here.
Yeah, both these guys have different plans. They're not prepped for exactly what each other are doing.
They
but
both want to attack into each other.
It seems like what's going to happen is that the composition is just bad for Hero.
It's a lot of Banelings.
Well, hold on a second, because the Banelings aren't actually in the base. So there's that as well. So the Banelings could just wipe the base out, but then the Adepts could kill all the drones.
Yeah,
so,
Solar is nothing back at home to defend this, really, actually. And Glaives is done, so Hero now coming in. It's nothing but Queens and only a small number of Lings. Reinforcements coming in. Hero, you got to build something to power. Oh, it's not in the right position. The Lings actually scoot past.
Oh,
this wall's going to bring
right
it down. He can get the Cybernetic Score if he wants it, or the Pylon. Adepts in the main base here of Solar getting even more damage done. Already 11 drones have gone down. Oh, recall coming in, but that means the Adepts might connect with the Banelings.
Yeah,
it's a nice surroundo on the Nexus.
A lot of the Banes just connect with the workers instead. Still a decent amount of Lings over here. Both sides really suffering as far as economic loss goes.
Solar powering with 10 more drones back at home right now. I think he knows that this can't be a killing blow, but he's still looking for more damage. He wants to macro behind it. Battery getting focused down here at the third base as the Lings are retreating into the natural expansion here of Hero. Even more probes going down. 43 workers to 42. Almost dead even when all is said and done after this. And I think when Hero identifies that there aren't more reinforcements coming, he might just move across the map again.
Yeah, so this is a very funny interaction because the Adepts got in, they did kill a lot of workers. The Banes got in, and then they didn't end up killing the Adepts. I almost think it would have been better if he had just killed the Adepts of them and then left all the, like with the Banelings and let the Lings kill the workers. But instead the Banes killed the probes. So then the Lings could be cleaned up with the rest of the Adepts. Very, very funny back and forth. And now it's going to be Hero once again trying to move in.
Coming into third base here. I think he's going to cancel the Shade and try and get these Queens. Last Transfuse pops on that one, so it will get taken out. He almost has enough depth to two-shot these things. The Lings are going to get this around. Oh, those Baneling connections are going to be big because of it.
Well, he targets down that last Bane. He's going to Shade now over here and keep killing these workers.
3 more workers going down, but with 18 Lings in production, I feel like this might not be exactly the trade Hero's going for, but also you're running an Adept composition that is going to scale really poorly over time.
Well, he's already switching into Stalkers.
Yeah.
He's getting those other upgrades.
I think in terms of cost, this wasn't the best for Hero, but it's pretty much ideal in terms of getting value out of the units you've already made. And so he's going to throw away even more Adepts here.
Yeah, you might as well just try to get any kind of value you can out of them.
Keep in mind, Solar was droning extremely hard after that attack. And with Hero kind of throwing away those Adepts, I guess trading out those Adepts, he's been able to equalize workers again, even up 4 probes right now, and taking a 4th base faster than the Zerg.
This is wild.
2 Forge already going up here for Hero. He's looking very solid in this matchup right now, Tasteless.
Well, I mean, Hero is sort of getting to where he needs to be. We're getting back into that Stalker tech. We've got the double Forges just cranking out these upgrades. The Robo's coming along. And right now, it's just, it's Roaches, it's some Banes. But I'm worried that Solar's going to be too small growth-wise. Ooh, I love that. Oh, he actually gets the mineral mined out before he gets the kill.
Yeah, we'll get 3 drones here. And you can see the army composition for Solar is going to be Roach Ravager Ling eventually coming through. Nice scout.
Yeah, he wants to make sure there's no base. It's going to be easily taken there on the right side. The 12 o'clock expansion is going to finish here for Solar, so he will have evened out versus Hero. But keep in mind, Zerg want more bases than Protoss. So,
Hero's almost, he's on 80 workers already.
Yeah, he's looking really scary, honestly.
Oh, this Void Ray is still alive as well. That's going to be hard for Solar to deal with.
Well, he's
Solar's
sending
actually
queens
pulling
across the
queens.
map, which basically says he wants to. Well, he was thinking about doing
Oh,
some kind of a
no.
timing. Oh, Hero!
I mean, these Adepts are getting so much done. The map control for Hero is insane, especially with this one Void Ray.
Yeah, he's really like all over the place.
The fact that you can hold the center watchtower is so solid because the creep spread, this game has been so aggressive and so dynamic. Solar hasn't really gotten an opportunity to really extend this creep spread through the middle. And so the fact that Hero can fight off creep in the middle of the map, like, I mean, this is barely on creep, but fight off creep and control this position to get scouting information is just absolutely so clutch. Now, be careful with those biles, Hero. Maybe macroing a little bit back at home, so he does eat some shots, but I mean, he has full map presence. All right, Ling's now coming in. If they get a surround on these Stalkers, it could be huge, but with another really big warp in, Warp Prism is able to evacuate from this position. Some Stalkers will be lost here on the retreat. Army supply very high here for Solar. Hero needs to hang on.
Yeah, he's just got to try to deflect this next attack. Hero's keeping ahead with the growth. He's just got a little bit of a weaker army, so he has to take the fights very carefully.
Vicious blink forward right there by Hero, but it's been a good one so far. I mean, these trades are so cost efficient for him.
I mean, this is the thing, right? As long as you don't lose the Stalkers, damage is real.
By the way, 83 workers here for Hero to the 67 of Solar.
Yeah.
And the upgrades for Hero are through the roof. +2 ground weapons is already done. +2 armor is on the way. +3 weapons is on the way. And so soon we're going to have like 3-2 Zealots going against a Zerg that is relying relatively heavily on Lings. I know right now the composition is almost pure Roach Ravager, but eventually when the Remax comes through after a fight, you're going to be mixing in more Lings and Banelings, I think, here as Solar. Yeah, 32 more Lings in production. And as long as there's a +1 upgrade advantage for the Protoss in terms of attack versus armor, those Zealots are going to two-shot. So his window for getting damage done is slowly closing because the economy for Hero is so big. So he has to get something done with this attack right now. There is a shield battery on the left.
Yeah, there's an Immortal about to pop out here. It's going to be pretty handy versus these Roaches. The Banelings are trying to come through. They're getting kind of log jammed here, coming through the Robo.
It's a big hit. There's a lot of counter damage getting done on Solar side of the map, but the army here for Hero is pretty lackluster, actually. He's going to lose pretty much all the workers here in this base.
They're both going to lose this game state. This is wild.
Oh, there's a lot of DTs about to warp in, though.
Okay, the DTs are going to be huge. I don't see an Overseer around.
No, there isn't a single Overseer on the map. More Zealots getting taken down.
There's enough Zealots. The Roaches can't quite fight them. The DTs are going to come in here. This is such a great game.
Stalkers on the left side, DTs in the middle. Those are +3 attack DTs, by the way. They absolutely shred these units. Just watch these Ravagers HP. They almost get two-shot.
Wild. More DTs coming to the front. Solar's army's disappearing.
DT's a
G. Just one G.
Called. Solar goes 0-4 in the group. He's eliminated from Codas after winning last season, and Hero is going to advance to face Ryung in the final match.
Man.
This is not the way I expected this group to go.
Whoa, that was a sick game. Okay, so we've got a PVT for our final match of the day.
And Hero looked really solid this series.
Let's see if Ryung's really got the magic or if Solar was just having such a bad day he can't beat anybody.
Ryung looked pretty good against Solar. Hero looked pretty good against Solar. I think both of them have a lot up their sleeves. Solar really not happy with this one, as you can tell. He said coming into this one he was worried he might disappoint his fans by getting an early exit here after winning Codas last season, but GSL champion curse. Sometimes the winner gets knocked out the next season. Guys, when we get back, the final match of Group D, Ryung versus Hero. One of these gamers going to advance. We'll see in a minute.
Sometimes I hunt for the storm just to weather it. Prefer them dead lead and challenge accepted. And don't get too friendly, my motives are treacherous. There's a thin line between pain and what pleasure is. And on that thin line is me leaving them breathless. Make them aware it's their moment of reckoning. Used to be less of a wreck, now I'm reckless. I'm the best and I still get the best of them. Hold up. Always been the one that got them carrying. Still get a little bloodlust every now and then. Beckoning, follow him, or fall to him like they all doing. I follow my own guidance. I follow my own guidance. Still woke up and chose violence. When I talk, they all silent. everything. Said I'm ready for any and everything. Mama said that I could be so many things, but this morning I chose to be menacing. I said everything, baby, everything. Said I'm ready for any and everything. Mama said that I could be so many things, but this morning I chose to wake up and be ready to fight. Everything, everything. Tell them I'm ready for anything. Everything, everything. I swear I'm ready for anything. Bring it on, it's not enough. Baby, I'm ready for everything. Everything, everything. Tell them I'm ready for anything. Too competitive. Had a wrestling match with Mount Everest. Leaving this prey, I could chase off the predators. You can't run with me, little boy, you too delicate. Hold up! I'm feeling a little bit dangerous, and they looking a little bit anxious. If I'm laughing while I'm twiddling my fingers, it's only a warning that you can't just walk up to me, talking to me. Ain't no telling my reaction, I could black out. This is such an experience, and it's always one I wanna max out. Everything, said I'm ready for any and everything. Mama said that I could be so many things, but this morning I chose to be menacing. I said everything, that means everything. Said I'm ready for any and everything. Mama said that I could be so many things, but this morning I chose to be menacing.
I got it like that. Yeah, I got it like that. I got it like that. Baby, I'm a big deal, I got it like that. I did it again, who told you that I was finished? Fresh off the plane with a new mani-pedi. My hair stay laid and you know I get paid. $100 bills, I got racks on the way. I'm making them big moves, I won't stay quiet. 5'6", but I feel like a giant. I got the source, I am the supplier. I can make them boys sing like they in the choir. I'm on top and I'm taking it higher. Who's that girl? That's me, I'm on fire. I'm a hot girl, I'm a hot girl. I get anything I want, this is my world. I make big moves in my big heels. Since the day that I was born, I've been a big deal. I'm a hot girl, I'm a hot girl. I get anything I want, this is my world. I make big moves in my big heels. Since the day that I was born, I've been a big deal. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm good anywhere, I don't pay a fee. VIP with the bosses, that's where I be. Throwing money in the air while I'm standing on the seats. Popping bottles with the models, get like me. My wrist on froze, never missing any meals. I feel like LeBron cause I get the ring. If you're bad and you know it, you're my 2020 twin. You can roll with me cause all I do is win. 1, 2, 3, let's go. I'm a hot girl, I'm a hot girl. I get anything I want, this is my world. I make big moves in my big heels. Since the day that I was born, I've been a big deal. I'm a hot girl, I'm a hot girl. I get anything I want, this is my world. I make big moves in my big heels. Since the day that I was born, I've been a big deal. Since the day that I was born, I've been a big deal. Everywhere I go, they wanna take my picture. They liking it, loving it, they gotta zoom in. I don't care about the rumors, it's amusing. I don't care about no drama, I get hotter in the summer. I just get to the money, that ain't never been a problem. If you want it, then I got it, I ain't...
kill it. I was meant to win. I am down and willing, so I will find a way. It took a minute, now it didn't happen right away. When it get hot in the kitchen, you decide to stay. That's how it winners made. Stick a fork in the hater on my dinner plate. I walk into the fire like it's just a bit of flame. I switch my style up, watch the money pile up. I'ma get rich or die trying, want me switch lanes. I'm always getting better, I'ma be on 5th place. On this one, then 4th on the next. 3rd, 2nd, 1st, you the poor with the best. She showing love, give me all the raw energy. Don't stop, go ahead, get it in. Jump, knock, let me in. Huff and puff and blow the house down. Raw energy. Don't stop, go ahead, get it in. Jump, knock, let me in. Huff and puff and blow the house down. I do it for the love, they perform for the checks, and I still get more. They be bored by the rest. I done put the work in, wasn't born in success. See the storm, it affects the performance. But I dance in the rain and the thunder, the drums. So I keep going hard, I won't stop till I'm done. From the bottom to the top, I'm the one. I can drop in a month, I'll be back at the top. Raw energy. Don't stop, go ahead, get it in. Jump, knock, let me in. Huff and puff and blow the house down. Raw energy. Don't stop, go ahead. Yeah, the first step is showing up, now we're here. Yeah, the first step is showing up, hit 'em chill. Yeah, the first step is showing up, now we're here. We're blowing up, hit 'em chill.
This is it for the round of 16. One spot remains, 2 players are left. Ryung and Hero are going to duke it out. Now, look, it's been a weird group only because of what Ryung has managed to do so far. He beat Solar, which was crazy. Solar also, after looking at the games that he had versus Hero, didn't look that great. So the question is going to be, can Ryung actually come out with another major achievement and take out Hero, a very strong and modern Protoss? Or is Hero going to move on? I mean, I think a lot of people are expecting Hero to be the one that gets out.
Yeah, I think so too. Solar just seems to be a little bit off his game right now. Not to say that Ryung didn't play well in his series against Solar. He played very well. But Hero looking really sharp. You know, one of the benefits also of getting cheesed out by Kira in 2 games, the silver lining, I guess, is he didn't really showcase much of his PPT because he just got completely destroyed within like 5 minutes.
That's true. We never really got to see what this guy knew about PvT. We got to see Widowmine's, like, you know,
yeah, in his
slowly
days.
maneuver into his worker line. Anyways, guys, let's get this match going.
All right, Ryung spawning in the bottom left. Top left is the blue Terran. Hero in the bottom right, going for a really early scout.
Yeah, setting that probe immediately across the map, confirming that the barracks is going to be right there.
That's what he should have done against Cure.
Yeah.
It's like, I learned my lesson, never again.
I always feel like this is the way to do it, because if you get there and there's no barracks, you instead of checking all around your base, you just go there and go, all right, are you doing this for real? People don't Macaraks that much anymore.
It's actually surprising how long it took the meta to develop to sending a probe out basically the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like this is so tried and true now. I don't even know how many years people have been doing this, but it's slowly been gaining in popularity. But it is kind of simple. It's like, well, you could send the probe out later and you could scout every possible corner and still have like a % chance of missing the proxy if there is a proxy. And then you get to their main base, you don't see anything. But you just send that probe out at the early parts of the game, you get some damage done, get some harassment in, especially if the PTR change where they're going to be increasing worker attack range, I think by double, which is pretty significant.
Yeah, they're going to make them like StarCraft 1 workers.
That will be cool.
StarCraft 1 work. I think it's actually an upgrade here in this case because like you can do a lot more crazy harass stuff with StarCraft 1 workers. And also, there's a number of games where we've had just like an SCV building a barracks that's spotted, but like they can't reach it. It is to stop the thing from making.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of good things coming with this opening. It's only going to get better should that PTR change actually roll on through. But Hero, with complete scouting information, knows that Ryung is doing about as vanilla an opening as you possibly can. Barracks in the main, 1 Reaper, command center on the low ground, just 1 gas as well. So he's going to be feeling really confident just to open up with pretty much anything that he wants, because against this opening from Terran, it doesn't get really any less aggressive than this. Like, there's no proxy barracks. You know there's not going to be a factory coming on because you click that refinery, see how much gas has been mined. And now we're going to get a chance to see exactly how Hero wants to play this matchup, which is something we really got denied in the first series against Cure because of how fast the aggression really amped up.
I mean, Cure came in definitely ready. The Reaper's going to get in here. It stops for a second, almost gets shot by that Adept. I think the Adept can be on the trajectory where it should get the next hit. Let's see.
Oh, juking and jiving.
Yep.
Well, the probe could block.
Bobbing and weaving.
I guess it doesn't even need to.
Kind of a funny little Sim City.
Oh, it's a really, I love, this is my ideal Sim City whenever I play Protoss is you can always just pull one of the probes out of the gas to block that thing and the Reaper actually can't get through.
Smart.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So, it's a quick third command center. Looks like we could have, let's see if it's going to be the 3-gate or the 4-gate build.
I wouldn't be surprised if Hero actually went for a 4-gate. He is one of the few Korean Protoss players to really embrace the max pack style of 4-gate blink.
When I talk to people outside Korea, everybody says this build is still really good, but I feel like we don't have it very often with Koreans.
Yeah, the Korean Protoss players generally go for 3, and Hero is going for 4. He knows. He is max packs pilled. He knows exactly what to do in this matchup. And going up against, you said this was a 3 command center opening here for, I see it on the minimap now for Ryung.
Yeah.
This could be really dangerous here for Ryung. Because Hero is one of these players that he's going to build that Warp Prism, and he is going to go to town with these blinks. He is not timid at all. He's the kind of guy that will have 10, 11 Stalkers just blink directly on the natural expansion no matter how many units are there, and just use the Warp Prism to micro back. Like, he is happy to take damage. He is happy to lose units.
This is
funny
wild.
little
The double Adept Shade thing. It's like this SUV's never going to get to mine. Oh, he messed it up. It's too hard to do.
Protoss really is the hardest race.
It's proven. Okay, so the Warp Prism is going to come out. Now let's see how well this attack does. On paper, this should be fairly strong against what Ryung's doing.
I think it could possibly kill him. The siege tank is going to be so late. The factory only halfway done. We only have Marines. The first 2 Marauders are coming out. Stim is about halfway done.
No bunker in the main as well.
Oh, he's trying to bait him, I think, with his Adept a little bit. Don't take the bait, Ryung. And this is something that you can do. Just blink right onto the main here, and he can go for
the Stim.
Oh, that could be huge. Oh, he's actually warping in. Are those Zealots? Not something you see very often in a pull like this, but I guess against the 3 command center opening, it is ideal.
It makes sense. He's going to be able to hold his ground here. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the Stim or not, but he might be able to just like fight this anyways, because there's no medics here. Medevacs, excuse me.
Medevacs are minutes down the line. That starport only just now began, so all this damage on the Terran bio is effectively permanent. More Stalkers are getting warped in. Still no bunker on the high ground, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, there's the blink. There's no siege tank, so he's going to be able to try and get this one down.
Oh!
Barely kills it. Just barely. And Ryung stimmed and is going to catch very little with that stim, which means all this bio just took another, 10 damage?
Yeah, he's going to have another warp in here in a second. That third Nexus is coming along just fine. A later third base here for Hero. Well, I guess a later third, Nexus or Command Center if you want to put it that way. But yeah, here Ryung's macro build actually is being punished so heavily here. We got the Zealot warp in coming down. He's juggling those Stalkers really nicely with the Warp Prism.
Yeah, Zealot's absorbing damage from the Marauders as well. Medevac's still nowhere to be seen. Probably just now starting on the production tab, although we don't have a glimpse of it just yet. And these trades are so good. Blinking forward yet again. There's no SCV pull. That bunker might go down.
Oh, I think he's got it.
He's barely going to be able to hold it. but still losing all these SCVs. I mean, it's 2 Marines in the bunker. There's basically no DPS.
You just don't have to respect the bunker at all.
Charge is halfway done. 4 more Stalkers getting warped in. Forge upgrades already starting here for Hero.
So many Terran units battered and bruised right now. Low HP, no healing here just yet.
Yeah, I feel like this is just snowballed to the point where Ryung is going to have a really hard time stabilizing. I mean, even if he's able to hold on.
Look at how many yellow and orange and red units there are right now here for Terran.
The first 2 medevacs are about to pop.
Yeah.
They are so late. And Ryung desperately needs them to heal. I mean, they're going to run out of energy so quick even.
Yeah, it's a good point. There's so many damaged units that it's like, it's hard to imagine them, you know, the heal even being more of a, like, I guess it's going to be a temporary thing. Zealot warp in now. Charge almost done. More gates coming down as well. There is a Colossus about to pop, and that'll be making a beeline across the map.
Yeah, this is the kind of position where if Hero was way heavily committed, I still don't think this would be very bad for him with how much he's gotten done, but
yeah,
he's not heavily committed. He has a 3rd base back at home.
Yeah, he's not all in. Not all in
more
at all.
additional gateways. He has 64 workers to the 44 of Ryung. Going to blink forward. Would have loved to see him go for the medevac there before blinking back out, but instead trying to whittle down this bio a little bit more. I love this Warp Prism Micro with the Zealots, and now finally the Colossus is joining. Another base is getting taken, as well as 4 more gateways.
Okay. Now with the Colossus, it's a siege weapon. It's not just about having splash near, it's that you're able to deal the damage at the distance, which forces them to engage into you. So this is a really, really difficult spot here for Ryung.
It also forces Ryung into Viking production. Those medevacs are very low on energy right now, so these next couple stims are going to be very expensive in terms of healing. More sentries getting warped in. I love that choice.
I think it's a really smart move.
Macro pairs really well with the Zealots too. Just a great sentry timing here. Could be the end.
I don't think
Ryung
Ryung sees the sentries either, but the sentries are going to be really strong in this fight. Is there another Colossus inbound here? I guess not.
I think it's like halfway done.
Oh, it's halfway done. Okay. I thought it would have been at earlier for some reason. But he's got so much. He's basically going to try to come in here and break him. A funny force field. It's like a little hat for the bunker.
I think he meant to have that a little bit further. Oh, look at this cannon timing even. Right when the Widowmine drop is coming into the 3rd base is when the cannon finishes. Hero is on point this game. Read that drop like a book. And Hero, even if he doesn't commit in for an attack, he's soon to be mining on 4 bases. He knows Ryung is on 3 CCs. He knows he's dropping mules in that main base and the natural. So Ryung is mining out the mineral patches way faster than Hero is in the 1st and 2nd base. And he's delaying the mining coming into the 3rd. So that's a big reason why Hero's supply is absolutely ballooning right now. And all right, here we go. Hero attacking it yet again. 4 Widowmine should get some pretty good connections on the Zealots, but
yeah, actually really good connections. I'm starting to worry that Hero might be in too deep here. The force fields come down, but they have not enough there to trap. Oh my God, the command center almost going down here. Could it be saved?
Oh, I don't think it's going to get saved. It got taken down. And Ryung basically has no battle plan after this. Like, well, what is the follow-up? Your army, it might barely beat Heroes if you have a perfect engagement, but the macro is just simply not there. Hero's taking another base. He's going up to 5 bases against the 2 of Ryung.
Yeah, Hero is just looking so good. I mean, there is still this big scary army, but I just think Hero's controlling it so well. And at this point in time, the pockets are going to be so deep right now for Hero. I mean, he's macroing just an insane amount. Here we go, 3 Colossi down here. Force fields go down. Stalkers thin that Viking count out. Oh, he even saves that one Colossus.
The medevacs basically move command into the front because they have no energy left.
Yeah.
There's no healing on the bio, so the gateway units absolutely shred.
GG.
Hero goes up 1-0 here against Ryung.
Beautiful, beautiful game, man. You know, I got to say, I think Ryung was making a bad move getting that quick 3rd command center. We know that Hero likes these very active games. He wants to basically be interacting with his opponent constantly, trying to come up ahead, getting damage wherever he can. And, like, on paper, Hero's build will just beat what Ryung is doing.
Yeah, I mean, even if I think if he fully committed to the 4 gate and just delayed that 3rd even more, maybe didn't even probe saturate it as much, just completely focused on warping in with the 4 gateway units, he could have just killed Ryung there. But instead, he played it safe. He took the 3rd, got a forage, got Colossus production underway, got charge. And by the end, he was going up to 5 bases against a 2 command center Terran. I mean, That is a textbook PBT. That is everything going right for Terran. And I feel like if you're Ryung now, you don't want to go back to this greedy play. You want to try and throw a wrench into the machine that is Hero. But Hero is so good at rolling in the punches, I don't know if Ryung can do it.
I don't know, man. I mean, I could definitely see why Kier did what he did against Hero, where he's like, no, we're not even going to play a normal game. I'm going to have some crazy trick that you got to stop that you're not going to see coming. We're going to go into game 2 now as this best of 3 continues on. Again, guys, the winner is going on to that final spot in the round of 8. Ryung in the bottom right, Hero in the top left. Same idea with the probe, coming across the map immediately to confirm that there is, in fact, a barracks being made in the main.
Yeah, and he's going to even spot the gas first here.
Yep. Refinery before barracks.
Oh, this could be so annoying for
And you actually know it's refinery before barracks because you don't see that go down here. Look at that.
Go
It's a
Hero.
pylon with sunglasses.
I like that. Can I make that a Twitch emote?
That's
a nice.
Very good on a sunny map.
Yeah.
So he sees the early gas too, which is of course like a big tell as well.
Yeah, he's going to know that this is not going to be the same opening from Ryung that we saw in the previous game.
I'm actually curious if Ryung just ditches the build when it's spotted.
Maybe, but I mean, it kind of does. If you do try to pivot into something a little bit more normal here as Ryung, it does feel awkward because it's not the efficient, one gas expand that you want it to be.
Right.
Otherwise, right? I think you have to just deal with the fact that it got scouted. The thing is that Terran does have a variety of different openings they can do off of a gas first in terms of harassment. I mean, we saw Kira do some really cheesy stuff. Of course, the 2 barracks Marauder wasn't a gas first opening, but there's enough that if Hero doesn't have the complete picture, you might still be able to catch him off guard, but that's the most offensive
it keeps
CC.
getting worse.
Yeah.
He knows everything, man. He knows the color of Ryung's underwear.
And the gas steal, too.
Oh, my God.
That gas steal actually does hurt quite a bit right here because he's going to see exactly what units are coming out unless Ryung decides not to kill it. He'll be able to keep tabs with the Marine count. The simulators have a ton of HP, Tasteless.
Yeah, this is kind of a sad game.
I feel like he's going to see the command center lifting, like the lift timing into the natural expansion even, and with adepts. I believe that's the second adept that he's making now on the map.
So.
If he has these 2 adepts, if Ryung doesn't go for like a Cyclone, for instance, Hero could actually just park those 2 adepts out of his natural expansion for a little bit and just keep alternating shades to delay the CC drop. Just by a minute.
That's actually a good point.
It could possibly happen. It depends on what exactly Ryung decides to do in terms of his opening. But this Reaper is going to go down. Oof. Oh, he's killing it with SCBs. Did not get the scout on the Stargate. Yeah, this is a sad opening here for Ryung.
Well, it's crazy when you just get, because when you play at a really high level, like okay, so let's say you get scouted early, you go okay. I can, do the bluff where I just do the strat anyway. And maybe you think I'm, going to be sneaky and try something else. But you have a series of other tricks you can do, right? You go, okay, well, that got spotted. Let's try this. But he's been spotted like so many times now. It's like he's basically out of tricks. Mm-hmm. It's not the same as if Hero had map hacks on and knows exactly what's happening, but it's kind of close. You're kind of out of options in the decision tree at this point in time.
Yeah, and look right now, Ryung, his medevac was delayed by a number of seconds because he didn't have that second gas mining. He wasn't able to get all of that gas in. And even the third, or not the third Widow mine, instead it's going to be an add-on here on the barrack or on the factory, but that also is delayed. So everything's just a little bit behind here for Ryung. Phoenix is going to be the opening here for Hero. This is a relatively common response if you see a gas burst opening from Terran because it generally is going to be something coming with starport pressure. It's either that or cyclones more often than not if you do see the factory in their base. And anything that comes out of the starport, the Phoenix is going to be very good against, whether it be sniping medevac drops, going for a Liberator. Even if you get an Oracle, you can pair with that up with the Phoenixes to clean up Banshees. And it's also a great scouting tool, too. I mean, Hero once again poked in with a Phoenix, and he's still seeing what Ryung is up to. And so Hero right now is playing this game with almost complete information.
Okay, so these Phoenixes are going to come in. Unless we've got some kind of a sneaky... I was going to say, unless we have a sneaky Widow Mine there.
I didn't even see that one.
I was going to ask before it came in, but I didn't have time. I thought, okay, well, did he hide something somewhere? Because that's kind of the place you put it, is by the refinery.
Oh, that's actually something I didn't consider, by the way, is the PTR changes to the Widow Mine is you're going to get a notification when they're attacking, and it's going to be a lot more obvious that they are attacking. And that sneaky Widow Mine placement behind refineries and such is going to get nerfed. I mean, if we played on
that's a good point.
the
I hadn't thought of
PTR,
that,
Phoenix might actually not take any damage.
Yeah.
Just occurred to me.
Well, there's always some give and take with these changes, right? I actually kind of like the fact that you can hide that by a building. I like these sort of advanced.
I don't.
All right.
No, it is cute. I agree with you. All right, push now ramping up here for Ryung. Couple of Widow Mines, some Cyclones here. Now, there is an Immortal out, and that does a ton of damage to these Cyclones, but you got to be careful. Retreating back to the shield battery. Keep in mind, Hero does have a Robotic Spay, but he's opting to go for the Immortals here just to deal with his push. He thinks that's going to be much more useful than the Colossus. And this shield batter here by the third base is such a saving grace, too. Being able to rotate your army like this, having so much flexibility. Now, the Widow Mine shot's very good there on the Adepts, but it's mostly just Cyclones left, and the Immortals are going to shred. Luckily for Ryung, he was able to focus fire down the Phoenix. So there is some medevac micro that's taking place here, but at the end of the day, this is still a Hero going up to 3 bases against a Ryung that's trying a gas-first push that really didn't work. And now Ryung is kind of going back. He's like, okay, I need a macro. I'm throwing down my double engineering base. I'm getting my 3rd command center. But he got basically nothing done with that attack. Hero's actually up in army supply right now. And once that 3rd Nexus gets online, he will be up in workers too, unless these Cyclones can really get some damage done. But there's still Phoenix on the map.
I got to say, Hero is just looking so good. And beyond his pushes that are coming out are not even looking like it's a thing. You know what I mean?
I feel like he feels as though he needs to commit to these attacks.
Well, he's just basically bleeding off units at this point in time. I think you're right. I think he feels like he has to kind of like make it happen now. But instead, it's just, you know, every move, it's Ryung dismantling this. And sorry, Hero dismantling what Ryung's doing is what I'm trying to say. And, I mean, at this point in time, I think the army size and sophistication is only going to grow here for Hero.
Yeah, I almost think that he could hit a timing as soon as charge is done with mostly charge zealots, a couple of Immortals, a couple of Colossus and Phoenix, and just dominate the position of Ryung. The standing army for Ryung right now is 4 Cyclones and like 6 bio units plus a Liberator. It is not sophisticated.
No, and also when the gateways come down, because you're getting all your tech out a little bit earlier with the style of play that Hero has, and then you sort of fill the meat in with the big gateway explosion that's later on. And I think there's a big bullseye now on that 3rd base that Ryung's taking that's pretty late.
Yeah, and I think Ryung, given how much he bled out units early, is maybe playing this a little bit too greedy. He's adding in a lot of Liberators. He's going into Ghost Academy very early. He has the double upgrades coming through. I mean, those are all things that are good for Terran to do, generally speaking, but off of that push, it is a little bit scary because I have my sight lines on those gateways finishing with charge. You get 2 Orphans of a ton of Zealots, and there is potential, should Hero decide to go for an attack, to just push the hell out of that 3rd base that Ryung's got. I mean, this is a very scary composition that Hero is running.
It's interesting that Hero expands that top right base. Do you like that, or do you think he should expand closer?
I'm not sure really how to feel about it.
I thought he was going to take the triangle base down there, but
yeah,
I mean, I guess right now it doesn't matter because his attack's going to come in here.
Maybe it's because Blink is so late. I think the triangle base is really good when you have Blink, but with this, maybe you want to expand more in a linear fashion. I'm not sure, honestly, but charge is done. Those gateways have kicked in. There's a Warp Prism in the back to reinforce, and Hero is eyeballing the army here for Ryung.
Sorry, where's the Warp Prism?
It's just off screen to the top.
Oh, okay, it's still coming in here?
Yeah. And all right, Hero coming in. The Phoenix are able to dispatch that Liberator. Nice EMP coming in from the Ghost. Oh, a little bit of missed micro there from Hero, but he is able to kite back. Only loses one of the Colossus. Should be another big Warpin coming in a moment. Yeah, those Zealots now coming through.
Okay, he's got some great shots coming in here with the Phoenix is taking out the rest of those Vikings. A little bit of a clumsy engage, if I'm going to be totally honest here.
Yeah, Ryung's defense better than expected here.
Well, he had all the Zealots go down when he should have had them fan out and some of them go up, and so that exposed the Colossus, and that got picked off. And you know, you really want that damage to stack over time with the Thermal Lance.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give Ryung props. He played that relatively greedy after his opening build flopped, and Hero fumbled that attack just a little bit, but the EMP from Ryung was absolutely huge. I think it got the majority of the army, and he controlled very well down at that third base. And so now that things have equalized, all of those macro plays that Ryung was making, the really fast double engineering bay after the failed push, the early Ghost Academy, they're all now starting to pay dividends.
So at this point in time, I think that there's a lot more instability here for Hero. I think he's not losing per se, but I think Ryung is basically stabilized and gotten into a good spot. All off the back of the really good defenses he had there earlier. Dude, that's crazy. I thought that was going to get shot down. So this could be a big warping. No, never mind.
And Ghost able to pick that off.
Yeah.
They really do kill everything. Phoenix now coming in. And these Phoenix are kind of dead weight right now, this army composition.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of functionality anymore. I think they were pretty good early on, but I don't know. As we get closer and closer to max out, he may want to even trade those out for something else. We are getting the cherry on top of the cake here with the disruptors coming into play.
Yeah,
that's going to give a lot more play here to these to the Protoss army.
It is worth noting as well, the medevac count here for Ryung is still very low. He only has 3. 2 more are in production because he's been focused on getting Vikings out as quickly as possible. It was a key part of him actually defending that third base and pushing back the Colossi. But as a result, any kind of engagement that goes even and lasts for a long time, where Ryung potentially even needs to use a second stim, can be very dangerous for the Terran until that medevac count gets replenished.
So I guess we do get some value with these Phoenixes after all. He gets to kill off those Cyclones. We're probably there to set up for a counterattack later on. 2-2's about to finish here for Ryung. The 5th base has been taken right in the center in plain sight here for Hero as he's continued to stay ahead as far as growth is concerned.
And another engagement now coming in. I think Hero actually wasn't expecting Ryung's army to be in this position. Blinking to the side, going to try and focus down the Vikings. Okay, Disruptor shot nicely evaded there by Ryung. Only bleeds out a couple of units, and actually stimming forward. Ryung's army is huge. He's able to dodge the other shot, and now this Protoss army has very little DPS at the top of this ramp. It's 3 Disruptors and just a ton of Zealots.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to advance on this position, but Ryung thinks he can. He's going to try to move in here. Another Disruptor shot comes out, and it goes off with a nice connect. But at the same time, it seems like the Protoss army is getting smaller and smaller.
Another small connection. They're able to get a couple of bio units. Hero's just kind of chipping away, but he's lost his 5th base, and basically the only real DPS that's maintaining here for Hero is the Disruptors. The Colossus count has been reset back down to 0. He's only just now building more of them. Nice awareness there, and Ryung just going for the killer move right here. Oh, even EMPs. I think he tried to get the shield battery on that one too, but coming through on this top side, this is a tough position here for Hero. He's going to try and set up a flank, though. These Zealots on the backside could actually get a lot done if they get the good surround, and yes, they do.
This is crazy damage here. At the same time, though, I think Terran might just still have enough. The Zealots are killed off, and now the army's thinned out. We've got reinforcements trying to come in here.
Oh, yeah, pretty good engagement for Hero so far. He's equalized a little bit, but with no reinforcement pylon right here, he has to be very careful. This game's become back and forth very quickly, but I'm starting to like Ryung's position a lot.
No, I think Ryung can win this game. I think he's going to come up here and kill this 5th base off.
Double fusion core.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why he's making 2 of them, but it's very exciting. No, one just finished. I think he didn't realize he had already started one.
Maybe he didn't realize he started one, yeah.
Double fusion core.
Like the movie core, of course, the new meta.
You can make 2 battle cruisers at a time. So Liberator range should be coming in here for Ryung. Yeah, immediately fires that up, as well as +3 armor. And 3 more command centers. The Ryung special. He loves throwing those down as soon as he hits max. And I mean, he has all the reason in the world to. His standing army at 126 supply is massive. Okay. I'd be really happy if Ryung just kind of sits at 70 SCVs, because he really doesn't need any more. Once those command centers come online. Oh, Hero's about to get sandwiched so hard, Tasteless. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is looking a little ugly here. Oh my god, that could have been an amazing Disruptor shot, but it skidded right by, I think, the prime target. The Colossi are disappearing. Everything else is getting wrecked here. Ryung is going to win this game, State.
Yeah, Ryung is looking so good right now. And we just go back to that early game push. It kind of fell flat on its face. Hero was able to get up a really fast 3rd, but here, after bungling the attack over in the 3rd base of Ryung, I mean, such a good recovery by the Terran player equalized, and all of that greed suddenly paid off. The Ghost paid off, the faster upgrades paid off. Just a lot of confidence from Ryung. And
I
he's
think this is the tipping point here. I think he can just tear through and start to take these bases out.
Absolutely. I mean, the standing army for Protoss is 13 Zealots, 4 Stalkers, and 3 Disruptors, and Ryung has already been very on point.
GG.
Yeah, we don't even get a fight. Ryung doubling in supply is going to tie it up 1-1.
We're going to have to see a different game here from Hero. I thought that push was going to close the game out, and he was just a little bit sloppy with it. Ryung kind of stayed patient, kited well, absorbed every blow, every punch, took it on the chin. And then it was Ryung's time to shine.
That was a very good defense from Ryung at that third base. I was so concerned for him. After the early game, Hero scouted everything that was going on. The Phoenix got a lot of value. Even the attack that Ryung went for between the natural and the third base of Hero did not trade out cost efficiently. But Hero, I mean, that attack, he had invested a lot into it. He wasn't powering up with another base. He was a little bit later on the upgrades. And when you invest resources in an attack like that one, and it falls flat on its face against an opponent that had been relatively greedy after a failed attack.
It's time to dust off that 4-gate again.
You might be right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised going into Hecate. Not the best 4-gate blink map, but that hasn't stopped Hero in the past. Let's see if he busts it out here in the final match of Group D. The winner of this game is going on to the round of 8. Right, Ryung spawning in the top right. The blue Terran Hero in the bottom left is the red Protoss. This game not going for the very fast scout. So mixing it up a little bit.
Now, this game, what exactly are they both going to do? I mean, I look at what happened to Hero in that last game, and I think, all right, Ryung is actually pretty solid in general. Like, beating Solar was not a fluke. Probably avoid a long game against Ryung.
I think,
right?
yeah, if he gets to the late game, he is solid.
Yeah, he's actually just continued to grind and improve at this sort of like late game Terran, hitting all these different locations and kiting and eking out damage over time. If I'm Hero, I want to do something pretty sharp. Pretty, come in for that crippling blow and clean up the rest later on.
Yeah, I'm thinking either 3 or 4 gate blink and then try to play off that. Get some snowball damage in. If you can't kill him, have it lead up to another timing, because here on Hecate is a little bit harder to defend that third base. Especially if you go for a Colossus push. I feel like there is an opportunity for Hero to get damage done. So he's going to scout this. The command center is not getting thrown down just yet, and those SCVs didn't seem particularly ambitious about throwing it down. So Hero might have an inkling that this is a gas first, but it's really hard to make that read based on just a small thing like that. Actually, Ryung coming in with the SCV scout is going to get the full check here on Hero. Sees the gateway positioning, sees the core. Nexus going down, but both players playing relatively standard. The only thing that's been deviating slightly from the norm, and nice catch for this Reaper, by the way,
yeah,
is
that's
Ryung
pretty big.
going for that gas first. So the fact that Hero didn't quite scout that and doesn't still have confirmation, that's a gas first, although he might be able to glean it from the timings just slightly. Means that there is an opportunity for Ryung to actually get some damage done with whatever quirky kind of harassment option he chooses in the early game.
This is going to be fun to watch.
I'm getting triggered. This
yeah,
happens to me this happens to me all the time. I hate it.
This is so exactly not a fair fight with these two units.
Yeah. The Adept's really good if you can actually get on top of the Reaper, but he can even go into the main base here. Ryung gonna play it safe instead.
He's got to try to protect these 2 probes from that Reaper. There is a Stalker about to come out here. Sorry, for a second I thought I saw a 3rd command center. I was like, oh my god, no. I think Ryung, by the way, also making the right call here as far as builds go.
Yeah, I like going back to the gas first. I mean, even considering how it didn't go that well in the previous game, but he still won it.
I almost forgot about that because the end of the game was like so much stronger than the start. But yeah, that's right. Hero had like the best possible opening as far as intel and denying stuff.
Yeah, he had complete information.
Yeah.
The thing is that the Phoenix did fall off quite hard in the mid game, and that plus bungling the attack into the third base really is not excusable there as the Protoss player. But This game, some nice early harassment there with the Adepts. They are going to retreat back down because they know now that some factory units could be out on the map. That is a Cyclone. Those Adepts do not want to stay in the natural expansion, but getting an SCB or two, forcing some idle time. Ryung on the other end, going to be able to get the full scout off into Hero's base, and it's actually going to be Cloak Banshee coming in. And I know Hero is going for, I believe, 3-gate Blink this time. That does come with an Observer, but there could be a sizable window if he doesn't catch wind that this is coming cross-map, where despite having the obs, if there aren't shield batteries in the main of the natural or stalkers with an observer back at home, Ryung can get a lot of probe kills with this.
Okay, so with Blink coming along here, we are going to get to see the Protoss try to move out here on the map and be a little bit more active. The Cloak Banshee is an interesting touch because this is one of the ways that it could totally suck the air out of the room when the stalkers are moving across the map with Blink. They're going to have to come back and protect workers in that Cloak Banshee.
The Observer for Hero is beelining it to the main base of Ryung to see what the setup is
right
in terms of infrastructure. And Ryung is being so sneaky with the Banshee.
He's going like all the way around. Like the most inefficient route just to be guaranteed that an Observer's never going to pass him.
Oh, and he's going to spot the obs.
Oh my god! The ghost of TY.
Ryung is our god now.
Ryung is our god now. That's what the ghost said. That was so sick. I haven't seen that since TY. Or maybe I saw Mario do that a little while back. But you know what I'm saying. It's like a really smart play. Is you just know the exact time the Observer comes across the map, wait for the blip and scan.
Man, Hero is completely in the dark now. Not getting that Ob Scout in for the infrastructure. He just has no clue. He's going to see siege tanks. He's going to see the Marines. But he hasn't seen anything come out of the starport yet. There's no starport units in the natural expansion.
Oh, wait.
Oh, he's going to barely miss
No,
this.
he doesn't see it. Does not see it. So like I was saying earlier, you know, you have these stalkers moving across the map with the really need to be back home to deal with this Banshee. And so this is probably going to force a recall here.
Oh, yeah, almost definitely. And I don't think there's batteries in the main or the natural. I hope for Hero's sake that there is one in at least one of these bases. But no, that's going to be a lot of probes going down. All right, recall has to come in.
Yep.
You got to wait for the
that Observer.
Banshee in the main base as well. Luckily, there is a shield battery in the main that will slow the damage a little bit.
He gets one.
Okay,
but
not
the
that
other
bad.
the other Banshee could just, you know, hang out over the trees. And I got to say, like, Ryung is really playing perfectly. Minus those two SCVs that are idle. And really messed up my call there. I'm like, well.
The Observer, like, zooms in on it. They just hear you. They're like, no, he isn't tasteless.
It's almost perfectly,
Shut up.
except for those two SCVs don't do anything. But
no, it's a really good opening. You
Yeah.
got 5 worker kills. Hero's always going to need to commit a little bit of supply to deal with that Banshee until Ryung eventually decides to trade it out in the back of his base. Yeah, this opening is solid here for Ryung. 5 worker kills, you take that. You got some scouting information. It also means that Hero wasn't cross-map with these stalkers getting damage done. He had a recall.
Yeah.
I'm liking this position here for Ryung, and attacking into this third base here on Hecate is another really scary spot should Ryung decide to go for a full-on siege tank push. Sieging down that ramp, it is tough to get a good engagement, especially with Colossus Stalker here as the Protoss player.
Yeah.
But knowing Ryung and knowing how passive he has been at different stages of the tournament today, I'm wondering whether he's going to go for that push or if he's just going to try and play and go for the late game, because he does seem a little bit more comfortable in all matchups when the game does go later.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, Hero, I think, also made the right call by just playing conservatively from here on out.
Yeah.
Don't try to attack across the map. Take your time, develop, build up. But this does allow for Ryung to get into a position in this game where I think he's going to be playing to his strengths, if that makes sense. There was no sharp move that Hero could come in early on and trip the game up or change the tempo or cripple his opponent and kill him off later. Instead, it's going to be macro late-game Ryung.
Yeah, and he's proven already that his macro is really scary.
And I think we may end up with another kind of timing push here. I don't think it's ever a bad idea when you have those 3 Colossuses to try to come out and make this work. But let's remember what happened to Hero in the last game.
Upgrades should be a little bit better this time, though. It will be a 1-1 timing push, so we will have that +1 armor. Very important for the Zealots in the front line, especially if there aren't Widow Mines, because then it's really just the bio that has to take them down.
So he's got the siege tank line set up here. I already feel like it's going to be a bad idea if he attacks in. The Observer sees it, and Hero's going to try to find another way to come across the map and do damage.
I wouldn't be surprised if you try to pivot into the natural expansion and then just do maybe a Zealot run by here at the third. We'll see exactly what Hero wants to do. For now, he is just parking his army out here out front of the third base, which is a little bit surprising. Now these 4 Zealots into the natural expansion are going to try and pull away some bio. Ryung's got to be careful not to overcommit with a bio, and he doesn't. So these bios going to come back and reinforce the siege tanks here. Here actually blinking forward and focusing down these 2 forward siege tanks is a really nice pick, and those sentries too. Getting a good chunk of bio.
Oh my god, so he's doing a really good job with the Colossi. They have not been picked off yet. He's got an angle where he can just start to really distribute quite a bit of damage onto the SCVs, whatever else is kind of sticking out over here. The tanks are going to leapfrog forward, and here I think wisely so decides to pull out and relocate. He's taking a 5th base, he's getting DTs. Hero, he's also playing the game he needs to play.
Yeah, that was a really beautiful maneuver getting those 2 siege tanks, because for Ryung to get to the late game, especially against a composition that is designed to push like this for Hero, he really wants the siege tanks to anchor that defense because he doesn't have any Widow Mines. It's all about the siege tanks for the splash, and leading siege tanks out like that, it's very painful. Same with the bio. Ryung wants to take as little damage as possible, and now the threat of highly upgraded Zealots. These are 2-1 Zealots coming in here into the natural expansion, or what is soon to be the 4th base. It's very dangerous. I mean, that small group of bio does not deal with these Zealots. And this could give Hero another opening to come in.
Okay, so he takes out that Colossus. He's basically doing control play here.
DTs.
Okay, and now with this command center committing to this location, I think this is a smart move. Hero's going to come in, and now Ryung's going to be regretting that.
Yeah, there's no siege tanks in this spot here.
Yeah.
Bit of a lackluster EMP, but Ryung just kind of taking what he can get.
Oh
and
my
now the
God.
Zealots come into the 3rd base. There's
Hero's
nothing
so
here to
good.
defend.
Those Zealots can dart right in between the depots and just start wreaking havoc onto these SCVs. Meanwhile, an attack in over here. The tank goes down. The Zealots pour in.
Guardian shield with +2 armor right here for Hero is doing so much at mitigating the damage of Ryung. Hero suddenly taking a very big supply lead. 10 SCVs in total went down there at the 3rd base. And the siege tank count just keeps getting lower and lower. There's only 1 siege tank on the field right now. That command center even almost going down. Hero doing the smart thing, just retreating, going to allow his shields to replenish. Ryung has to repair that command center. And Hero back at home is just macroing up so hard. 5 bases.
This is some of the best control play I've seen from Hero. He's just keeping this guy on 3 bases, making him defend, making him respect the threats. And back at home, and we're not really showing much of it on camera, but like it's just a lot of bases, a lot of growth.
And the upgrades are just doing so much work here for Hero as well. He's playing 2-2 against, I think, 1-1 for the opponent. And, I mean, you couple that with the Guardian Shield as well, and you can get so much done. We'll see how many DTs get warped in here as DT Blink about to finish. Protoss is about to have +3 ground weapons before Terran has 2-2. There's so much firepower in this Protoss army. These Zealots just absolutely shred SCVs right now.
Dude, okay, so the noose is getting so tightened at this point in time. I don't know how much more Ryung can do. He still has the army, but he has been shrunk down to a size that I just don't know if you can recover from this.
Especially with the low upgrades.
Yeah.
I mean, just these favorable trades here for Hero. Those Zealots usually just get evaporated, usually when they come in, but 3-2 right now to 1-1 is an unbelievable upgrade lead here for Hero. These Stalkers even pack a punch attacking into that bio. And he's going to try and siege down this 4th base. There's no siege tanks here. 1 disruptor. Let's see if we can get the money shot coming in.
Oh, no! No!
Only gets
he had a family!
That's exactly what Hero was going for.
Oh, my God.
Somebody call PETA.
No!
All right, Hero once again attacking in. Really nice angle for Ryung. I love that arc there at the top, and Hero is going to have to retreat. It is tough coming in from that fight, but these Zealots once again attacking the natural expansion. Hero just every time he pokes with a main army in one side, he's coming in with a bunch of Zealots on the other.
And again, I mean, how many more SCVs can you remake in this game? He's got another set of Zealots coming up into the natural as well.
Oh my God, I just noticed the mineral bank right now for Heroes at 2.5K,
Yeah.
1K gas.
And he's maxed out. I mean, he's just going to spend that money on Zealots.
Yeah, just keep making Zealots and keep rallying them into
Look
the
at that. I
natural
love that he just puts
expansion.
him on hold position of the minerals. He's like, no, I'm not going to run away with this. You have to kill this before you can have an SCV mine at these patches.
How many SCVs have died this game? I wish we could see.
We might actually just see Ryung fizzle out here.
Disruptor in the front.
I mean, he's given his best. He's given it his all, but Hero has really come back 10 times as strong.
Yeah, it's 3-3 to 2-2 right now. I'm sure Shields is almost about to complete. Hero is getting so much done. Now Ryung is caught really dangerously out of position. These Disruptors can do a good job of pushing away, but actually the surround coming through. Disruptor does get a good connection. It's a full 360 surround here for Ryung, but the RB for Hero is so strong. Ryung is going to eventually be able to trade this out, but look at the banks. It is 3K minerals here for Hero. Disruptor shot comes in, barely gets sniped down, so Ryung is going to be able to survive for now.
So the question now is, well, hold on.
I mean, the 33 SCVs go down. Ryung is basically all in. Hey, yeah, GG's call.
Great game. Great game. Hey, really impressive stuff from Hero.
Hero is going to advance, and for the first time in I don't know how long, we are going to have 3 Protoss players in the round of 8 here at GSL.
And 1 Zerg. Wow. 1 Zerg.
Zerg really is
Take
the weakest
that.
race.
It's finally, yeah, finally. When are they going to patch Zerg and make him good? Come on.
But man, I gotta give props to Ryung though. Hero is going to advance, but Ryung coming into this group is the underdog in beating Solar, then going into the winners match against Kier, and then going 2-1 against Hero. I mean, what a day for him.
Yeah.
If Ryung continues to perform like this year, I would not be surprised to see him make the round of 8 later on in the GSL.
Great series. I really enjoyed that last one. And by the way, really cool to see how much Ryung's improved.
Yeah.
Like he almost, in another game where, he was able to handle that pressure a little bit better in the final game, he'd be moving on. And, we've seen games where Ryung looks really good, but I feel like today is a little bit different. Like, he looked even stronger than before, which is exciting.
Yeah, his late game macro in particular was very solid, both against Solar and against Hero there in that game number 2. Just looked completely on point, but Hero correctly identifying that the way his path forward to victory against Ryung is by just finessing him with early game moves. And I think really the initial attack that came in here in the 3rd base, the very first one where the Stalkers linked forward, killed the 2 forward siege tanks and allowed Hero to pivot to the other side of the expansion, is what really set the tempo up for Hero. Just continue piling on the pressure, preventing Ryung from taking a 4th base. And Ryung eventually needs to take a 4th command center, and by the time he did, Hero just completely obliterated it.
We're going to have an interview now. Oh, you bet.
Sure. So congratulations, Hero. That was a very difficult series. How are you feeling? Hero says, up until the last moments, I wasn't sure I was actually going to be able to defeat Ryung, but I was able to come through in the end. Since the IEM round of 12, you were talking about Kier's Proxy Marauder build, and you wanted to see it again. And Hero says, yeah, I prepared so much for the match. I was even expecting that Kier might go for the Proxy T-Rex Marauder, but I was still caught by surprise, and yeah. I dropped my guard. I dropped my guard, and it was able to defeat me. So it seems like you weren't really scouting too much about what Kier was going to do. You're focused more on your execution. Why is that? So when I play against Kier, there's a lot of different moments where I feel regret. That's such a sad statement. But yeah, I guess Hero is saying that he wishes he scouted a little bit better. And there. And now the Korean casters are basically just listing all of the mistakes that Hero made against Kier and making him feel even bad. That's why Hero looks a little bit sad on stage right now. Oh, and Hero says, because of the gold necklace, I was able to win, and now I can never take it off. It brings me good luck. It's also very fashionable.
예상이 됐나요? 파도 딱 정찰 들어가서 계속해서 그림자 이동으로 입구 쪽 정찰해내면서 상대방의 체제가 예상이 됐기 때문에.
So when you scouted Ryung's
아니면 준비를 한 건지.
builds with your adept.
네, 일단 제가 처음에 좀 좋게 출발해가지고 사신을 빨리 잡는.
Did you make your decision how to play that series based on your scouting information, or did you have a plan coming into the series?
그래가지고 일단
Well, I noticed that Gumiho was playing a tricky style. He was trying to hide a little bit of what he was doing, so I decided I would just go for the really early scout and focus on attacking to kind of get information, and the style worked really well. That's what allowed me to defeat him in the series. In the quarterfinals, you're going up against Maru, Classic, and Beyond. How do you feel? And also, there is a patch on the horizon. Hero was saying, oh, Hero was saying on the quarterfinals they will be playing on the new patch.
Oh, wow.
I'm not completely sure about that. That's what I heard, though. So they're going to be practicing a lot on that. Interesting. Now they're asking if he has any words for his fans. So a lot of them showed up here today, and Hero says, well, I'm happy I was able to make it to the quarterfinals. It wasn't easy. I was a little bit shaken up by the early matches, but the series were harder than I thought, so I'm grateful for everyone for cheering for me, and I'm very happy to make it to the quarterfinals. Please continue to support me in the future. I wonder if that's confirmed, because it sounded like Hero was pretty confident they will be playing on the new patch.
It would be good if they told us that. That would that would make a difference.
Are they breaking an NDA? That would be exciting if it happens.
Yeah, we'll find out soon, I guess. Cure and Hero move on. It's, you know, the result we expected, but I got to say the process of getting there was really exciting. Ryung had some great games. Stunning to see Solar lose the way he did.
He was talking a little bit, I think, in his interviews about not having practiced very much for the round of 16, and I don't know if that was him just taking a break or him feeling a little bit of hubris, like, I don't need to practice, but it did kind of show. I mean, that wasn't the Solar that won GSL last season, and this is going to be the round of 8. Maru, Classic, Byun, and Hero in Group A. That is next week on Thursday, 6:30 p.m. KST, and then Stats, Shin, Cure, and Gumiho in Group B. 2 very fun groups. I'm a little bit sad that we only have one Zerg here. It is kind of an upset that both Dark and Solar got eliminated. Then we had Su, DRG, and Shin all in one group, so of course one of them are going to go out. And it's also Mario, so kind of an unlucky draw here for the Zergs, but it is refreshing to see 3 Protoss in the top 8. I must say.
Nice. Yes. This is fun, you know. I've had, you know, obviously a lot of GSL casting in my past, and we've had a lot of Zergs get deep and do well. Terrans too, you know, Protoss just haven't had the same success rate recently. So this is going to be cool, having a little bit more TVPs to cast here in the future.
Yeah, especially that Group A. I mean, Maru, Classic, Byun, and Hero. Classic advancing in second place in Group B, was able to barely defeat Dark in game number 3 to make it by the skin of his teeth. And now he's going to have to show what he can bring to the table in PBT. I mean, he did take down Bunny before Hero. He was cheesed out against Cure, but he was able to beat Ryung. And we'll see what these guys kind of bring to the table for next week. I'm excited. I mean, it's going to be a deep dive in the TVP matchup.
It's going to be fun. I welcome it. And PvP, TVT, and TVP have been a lot of fun lately, especially to cast. So this is cool. We are going to be on at 6:30 p.m. Thursday, same time, same place. If you're going to buy tickets, buy them tomorrow, 5:30.
Yeah, for the round of 8, you probably do want to get them early.
Yeah, the further along this tournament gets, the fuller the studio gets. Maybe it won't be full to maximum capacity, but we have a lot of people that fly in or travel in from different parts of Korea to see this, foreigner and Korean. So always want to remind you guys that, you know, the further along we get, the harder it is. We have people that fly out here and can't get into the studio.
That has happened.
They're literally outside the front of the building, and they're, you know, tweeting at me, and I'm like, I actually just can't do anything. Yeah. So
link is down there. Make sure you get it.
Yes.
5:30 p.m. KST tomorrow.
Yes. This is fun. Good games today.
Yeah, I was
interesting.
A little bit worried it was going to be another one of those days like me and Gemini where we casted for 6+ hours after the first series.
Only this
it went
one's without
so
tech
long.
delays because it's just Solar not dying to Terrans forever. But
it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
definitely
was a action-packed day.
Good day for sure. Yeah. Well, I'm done talking. I'm going to wait for the Korean caches to wrap it up. But, yeah. We will.
I'm just not going to say anything. I'm just not going to say anything and just make you feel really uncomfortable.
Once we're done, then I just put my head on the desk like this and I just wait. I did my end of the show. I wrapped it up, and I guess they've got more to say.
Yeah, I wonder if they're talking a little bit about the patch, because I was
Could be.
really surprised to hear that in the interview
I
from
would have
here. That's
liked to
the
have known.
first that I have heard from this, and you would think that I would, or you would know this information.
Well, we don't. Guys, that's all the time we have. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.